What's going on, beautiful people in chat? Those of you watching on YouTube, I appreciate y'all for being here, baby. You tune into another episode of Talk About It with me, your host, T Easy. This is a space where real conversations happen, unfiltered, uplifting, and unapologetically focused on growth. Twice a week, we dive into thought-provoking topics, sit down with some interesting people, doing even more interesting things, all with one mission in mind: to be better than we were yesterday. So whether you're on the grind, you're in your zone, or you just need a little motivation to keep pushing forward, this podcast is for you. So hit the like button, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, tell your friends about it, drop a comment, tell me what you liked about the pod, tell me what you didn't like about the pod. I'm all ears. I appreciate y'all for being here. I love y'all so much. Let's get right into the episode. God bless y'all. What's going on, beautiful people? What's going on, chat? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today's guest is one of the best people that I had the privilege to meet in the hills of Appalachia. There's been plenty of times that we spoke for countless hours about things we're passionate about. Davey is a child of God, a father to a beautiful little girl, and is someone with core values that a lot more people today should lean on. I'm very excited to pick his brain and have a great conversation. Without further ado, please welcome Davey Hawkins. Davey, how you doing, brother?
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So, first podcast.
It is the first one.
Well, we're running a little behind. If you're curious on why, chat, it's because we started talking and then we couldn't stop. Per usual, though, I feel like that was also the case whenever we were working at U-Pike at the same time.
It absolutely was.
Yeah.
It's hard to be in the same area. They get a lot done.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember sitting and talking for like 3 hours one day in Kinzer during the summer.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, we should probably go work or something.
I enjoyed that too, though. You know, which I feel like too, the entire program was such a helpful thing to so many people. And,
Oh, the summer crew?
Yeah. And I mean, he was kind of talking about the trades a little bit. Above anything else, how many people don't know how to do basic little things at their house? You know, fix a toilet, fix their heating and cooling, fix these little things. That's wildly expensive. Whenever you get out and buy your own house, you're going through life and all that. I mean, it could put you down pretty hard to learn some of those skills, especially kids that didn't have that upbringing, that had that opportunity. I think it makes them better for life. It really did.
Well, too, I think it's just the sense of like, I've talked to a couple people about it, and it makes sense that we're so short on people in trades, just because the push for me when I was in high school wasn't like, you know, find something that you are passionate about or find something to do when you get out of high school. It was, you need to go to college.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, I didn't necessarily want to go to college, but like I had the opportunity to play ball, so it just happened the way it did. But I know there's plenty of people that I went to school with that went to college and was like, yeah, no, I just wasted my time because that's what they were pushed to do and they didn't need to do that.
Right. Well, I think a lot of it too is that they go in without true guidance per se. And how many people do you know that were classmates that you had that went in with a major and switched it 20 times?
Yeah.
Because they had no idea.
Yeah.
So it's wasting so much time, and it's not for everybody. I think it's good for some people. I think it's great to go through it. It definitely helps you get a little jump start, especially in today's job market. You're trying to apply, build resumes and stuff. So it definitely helps. But I had the same exact experience in high school. They didn't really push you towards anything outside of college. It was kind of pushed down your throat.
Right.
You got to go to college. You got to go to college. And I really do. I think you're hard pressed. Like even doing any of the trade for that matter. I've done electrical, and to get a 2-year degree, you get out and maybe not necessarily in this area, but most places you're gonna make around $30 an hour.
Right.
That's hard to beat. For a 2-year degree for you to get out, and you're pretty well guaranteed a job because like we said, you're so short on the amount of people that work. So I think they're great opportunities for people to get into.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of on the fence of, is college necessary?
I mean, of course, for certain degrees, yes, but I don't think everybody needs to go to college. It's definitely not for everybody. But at the same time, like, I could have went and done an internship under somebody who runs a business and gotten just as much knowledge about running a business than going to college. But I wouldn't have the connections that I made through college. But now I know doctors and I know lawyers.
I think a big part of it is having connections, and it's I had a conversation with one of my family members. It's been a few months ago, but as much as people hate it, it's like learning what people do from anywhere. Like you said, doctors, lawyers, having the trades friends, having nurses, whatever. Your baby gets sick. If you know a nurse, you can text them back, hey, this is going on. Is this something serious? Should I go do it? You got a problem at your house? And I do it all the time. I don't know if you remember Shannon or not, but if my air conditioner messes up, I don't know a ton about heating and cooling. I'll FaceTime and be like, Shannon, buddy, walk me through all this. And it's just nice to have. And it helps you out later. You get people that, especially that hold high roles, it looks good to throw them on a resume.
Right.
Have those references and throw on there. So I think having the connections, I would argue, is more important than getting whatever degree.
Yeah, no, for sure. But also, it depends. I think it comes down to the student. Like, if somebody just goes to college to go to college and they just kind of skate by and they're the type that just goes to class and then, or doesn't go to class and goes and parties and does X, Y, Z, opposed to somebody who goes in with an intent of like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to build my resume and I'm going to be involved. The person who goes the extra mile to do the extra stuff is going to take way more away from college than the person who just partied the whole time. Because all the person that partied all the time is going to have is stories about how they did X, Y, and Z.
Right. And I don't know if you had this same experience or not, but I remember being told countless times in high school, you're going to get to college, these professors aren't going to let you do this, they're not going to let you skip class, they're not going to let you do any of that. My college experience was the exact opposite of that. They could care less what you're doing. It's like, you're an adult now, okay? It's your responsibility to come to class. It's your responsibility to do the work.
Yeah, you're paying for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's, and that's not to say that some professors were not, they cared about the students and they tried and they mentored them, yeah. But at the end of the day, sure, you're a young adult. They were definitely not as strict and just straight lined as it was in high school.
Yeah.
For me, at least. So I think that you misguide so many kids trying to scare them with that, and then they get up there and get a little bit of taste of freedom. Right. And go crazy.
Well, it may be a little different experience for me. Like, I didn't have to do too much in high school. Like, I very much would consider it the bare minimum. A two-sport athlete, everybody knew me. I had to show up, and sometimes I didn't even have to do that. So, like, I get out of high school with a 3.9 GPA and get to college expecting, I'm playing ball. Like, it's just going to be taken care of. That wasn't the case. I remember sitting down first class with Dr. Green, and everybody, we're sitting there expecting a syllabus lesson, and he's like, all right, chapter 1, and we're like, well, hold on, wait a minute, where's the syllabus? He's like, look, y'all are paying for school. We're not going to sit here and talk about a syllabus for 20 minutes. You'll take it home, take it back wherever you're going and read it, but I expect you to have the chapters read before class every week. I was like, yo, this is wild.
It gets hard, too, because I started back about 2 years ago, and I just do all mine online through Moorhead, and some of them, I feel like online it's almost cheating. Like, it's too easy.
Yeah.
And it feels pointless that I'm even doing it. But then there's other ones that, especially in some of the classes that I have to take.
Right.
Way over my head. But I don't have that professor sitting in front of me to help me.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got the book is explaining it to you, but they're posting 3 assignments a week, 4 assignments a week, every one of them is due, and it's a lot, especially everything else on top of that.
Right.
And you don't have anybody there to kind of guide you. You're expected to just figure it out and do it online at least.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, my master's at UPike was different in the sense of, like, I knew the people and I knew that I could go and find them. Yeah. And also, too, I wasn't fully immersed in, like, being, like, I mean, yes, I was an adult, but, like, my job was, at that point, I was running the fitness center, so it was like I was doing homework while I was there. I just had to be there. It's not the same as, like, if I was doing it when I was an area coordinator and having to do other stuff on top of that, I can imagine.
Which I've been lucky to have jobs that I can kind of, at times, get a break from, especially on lunches. I'd always do that, but I got to the point I just schedule stuff out, and I'd be like, listen, I got to do it today.
Right.
If it's not due today, no matter, I got to do it anyway. But I do it way slower pace too, so that helps a lot. Instead of trying to take a full course load, I'll just take 2 classes a semester, and then it's bad.
That's fair. But yeah, no, that's a very good point. I think it comes down to the person and what their goal is. Because, I mean, there's going to be plenty of people that go to college and end up dropping out or flunking out because their priorities aren't in order. But also, that's, I think, to an extent, that's part of growing up. Like, you need that experience to be like, okay. Because you're either going to... Because everything is... it's kind of a two-way street. Like, you either go into something and fail and you're like, okay, well, then how do I fix it the next time? Or you go into it and fail and you're like, you blame everybody else and say, you know, this isn't my fault, and don't take accountability, and then you just end up doing it over and over and over again.
Absolutely. Well, it's similar to it. It's a little bit different, but the same family member I was kind of talking to this about, we got on work ethic, and she asked me the question, like, how do you train somebody to have work ethic? You know, especially if you're in a management role, you're over people, you're trying to deal with this. You know, some people just don't want to work. So it's like, how do you fix that?
That's a good question.
And it's, to me, okay, a lot of people probably wouldn't agree with this. I don't think work ethic is something that can be taught.
I don't think so either.
I don't think it's something that you just pick up. I don't think it's from an upbringing, your childhood, none of that.
Yeah.
I genuinely think what is your passion? What do you want to do? Even if it's not at that job, if you want something bigger and better, you're going to be good at anything you do. You're going to have that work ethic. But if you don't have that goal and ambition, you're not going to have it because what are you working for?
Right.
You know? So it's like, to me, it's not work ethic in the sense of, oh, I have a job, I'm going to do good at it. It's, hey, I have goals that I need to do good at this to move on to the next thing. And, you know, it's not necessarily the job or the company or the business or whatever it may be, but it's your ambition.
Right.
Not anything else. And to me, you can't, sure you can counsel people, but ultimately somebody's just got to come up with that on their own. I think it's kind of the same concept with college.
Well, I think that's a great question, one. But I think, two, I don't think it could be taught. I think it could be trained in the sense of the circumstances. Like, one, there's very few people that I know of that want to do some, you know, fast food job or, you know, work at Starbucks, right? I don't know why, but when you were talking, that's what came to mind. But I'm sure there's a couple people that really are passionate about making coffees every morning and being like somebody's being a part of somebody's day to like get them going and get them energized, right? But that's not everybody. So I think it depends on the circumstance. Like when it goes to training them, like, are you going to be able to find their passion in life based off of serving coffee? Probably not. But at the end of the day, it goes into, okay, well, what do you want to do? Oh, you want to be a manager somewhere. Okay. Well, then how do we maximize what you're doing here to get you to that point? Like, do we try to get you to climb the ladder as fast as possible? Do, you know, we show, like, have you lead trainings? Like, what is it that I can do to get you to a better point? And I feel like if it's not resonating still with that person, then it's like, okay, you're here working. So, like, at what point do we either dock your pay or not have you work as much to, like, correct this issue? Like, if you're going to be here, you need to be working, and you need to be working hard. You know what I mean? But I don't think it can be taught by any means. I think trained, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever met him. He was the district manager over Misty for the Airmark side.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And he would come in occasionally, so it's like 2 or 3 times a year he'd come to the college, and he's usually there just for a day or two, and then he'd skip back out. But he said something to me one time that I'd never looked at it that way, and it made so much sense. It's like, when you do your role, so many people, if you get that manager job, you get whatever it is, if you're over people, a lot of people design things in a way, they do things in a way that make them irreplaceable. It's like, I'll build a system that only I know how to use.
Right.
Because then that gives me job security, right?
Right.
the wrong way to do it. It's like you should make yourself as replaceable as possible, and then it's a better place. Now it runs more efficient. Now it runs better, right? And I think people don't because they're scared. They don't want to get fired. They don't want to lose their job,
Right.
whatever. But like his point was, you know, the people that you get to oversee, you need to kind of you test them in some sense to see who's capable, who's not capable, who moves up. If a supervisor position comes up, who are you going to move into? You know, don't be behind the ball on that. Don't wait till it happens and then be like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Find somebody, and then just like you said with like leading a meeting, make people lead a meeting, make them do little things here and there, and whether they realize it or not, you in some way are kind of training them up to be into a role
Right.
like that, and you can see before you even let the person have the position, kind of if they're capable of it or not. And I liked the way he explained that a lot. I didn't word that the exact way he did, but it to me made a lot of sense.
No, that makes sense.
know,
But also, I think it makes sense to us in the sense of like faith. Like a lot of my um, trails of like thirsting for knowledge right now are leading me down paths of like books, like improvement books through faith. And that was actually one of the chapters was talking about like serving a God. Everybody serves a God, but what God are you serving? Are you serving the one true God? Or are you serving the God of money or the God of XYZ? You know what I mean? So in that sense of somebody making things to where they have job security, then their God is probably money or like financial like soundness, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
But they're not. There's no values of making. They're not thinking about anybody other than themselves. It's just greed.
Well, that makes sense too because if you think about it, and with the God thing, I think that you can make anything a God.
Yeah,
So
no, literally.
whatever
Yeah,
a lot it becomes your God. It could be music. It could be a game.
no, absolutely.
Whatever. It may be. But
Whatever you put it number one on your list, that's typically your God.
it becomes your God.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of it, even that sense how I mentioned, whatever work you do, sure, you can have passion for a company, you can have faith in a company that you want it to do good, so you're working for the betterment of the company. But at the end of the day, I don't know the scripture offhand, but there's scripture that talks about every single thing you do. You're doing your work for God. It's not for the company. It's not for the business. It's like that He blessed you with the opportunity to have that job, whether you like it or not, and you disrespect Him in some sense of not giving your best at that job.
Right.
Because, how many of us have had a job that we just absolutely hate? We don't want to be there. And we're all told the lie too. At least I was going through school. You need to do something you love. You need to do something you're passionate about. That's great if you find it, but that's not why any of us work. All right? It's like we have families you got to take care of. You got to take care of yourself. You have bills to pay. That's why most people are working.
Yeah.
Right? If you took that stress away, how many people would go to a job every day?
Right.
So I think a big part of it is looking at it through that faith sense of I'm not doing this for anybody. I'm doing this work because God blessed me to be in this situation, to be able to do this work. And, sure, there's maybe days that you don't like the job or don't like what's going on or whatever. How many people are out there wishing they had a job?
Yeah.
Wishing they were in the opportunity you were, So I think it's hard for everybody, but you really got to step back and humble yourself sometimes.
Well, I
And
think
see-
too. I've had a conversation recently where I was talking about, like walking in faith daily, and I was like, one of the things that we're notorious for. I was like, I know I'm notorious for it, and I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people, but we take advantage, not advantage, but we take for granted those blessings that we don't see as blessings sometimes.
Right.
Like,
Well, it's easy to do in today's world
Right,
too, because
right.
look how much we have.
but it's in the concept of like, there's so many things that we have. Like every person has a certain blessing that they look over every day. Like, and the biggest we all have in common, if you wake up in the morning, then you got the blessing of like you have another day. There's some people that didn't get that opportunity. But like, you overlook those because you're so used to them, and then you get caught up in day-to-day life and kind of your routine of things, and then you just blow past them. Like the concept of don't look at things of I have to do this today. Look at it in I get to do this today. Like, how blessed are we that we have the opportunity to do what we're doing on a day-to-day basis when that's not the case for everybody?
And I think it's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah.
Even myself, it's like, how blessed are our lives?
Yeah.
Really? But do we feel that way every day?
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
You know, there's days I come home, I'm dreading it, I just want to go to sleep, get
Right.
it over with. But it's like, look at what's been given to me. The opportunity, Natalie, my friends, everything. And it's so easy to take that for granted.
No, absolutely. I mean, it plays into that role of like, I think I agree and disagree. You said like, we were sold a lie of like, you gotta find something you love.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me personally, I love being able to go and do something to provide for Mateo and Evie. And
Right.
and granted, I've brought his name up a couple times on the podcast, and a lot of his takes are garbage, but he has some good ones. But Andrew Tate said that he doesn't like having fun; he likes supplying fun. That's kind of the move that I'm on. Like, I like to be in the midst of being like in a fun environment and seeing the people that I love have fun, but I don't need to have fun. Like, if I'm the one that put in the hours of work to make the money to pay for the fun, then I'm cool with just being in the room. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think a big part of it too, when you start looking, like the disciples, for example, they're going through some absolutely horrendous times.
Yeah.
They don't sound very fun.
Right. Right.
Fun. But that was something that they were passionate about.
Yeah.
And I think it's something like, as men, you're not supposed to have fun. So you're not put here.
Yeah, he says that too.
Little life, you were put here to work.
Yeah.
And that's just whatever that may mean,
Right.
But in the same sense, I agree with you 100%. Like, if I can work for something to be able to give Natalie something, seeing her happy and seeing her have fun, that's all I need. And so I don't need to be happy. I don't need to be. That's what makes me happy.
Right. So in that sense, what if we just misunderstood that saying the whole time? Like, we take it as we have to find something we really are passionate about to like pursue for work, but really us working, no matter what it is, like if it's McDonald's or whatever, me being able to make the money to come home and supply for, like, provide for Mateo and Evie, that's what I enjoy doing. So I'm technically doing what I like. Do I physically like being in a 130-degree attic? No, but I know that the outcome of that is I get to pay for stuff that Mateo and Evie want. So, like, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense that way too. Whenever you kind of adjust it and look that way. But I do think a lot of people take that in a way, and I've seen it firsthand, that people quit a job because it's just not for me.
Yeah.
I've never in my life had a job that I woke up in the morning and I'm like, you know what, this is it.
Yeah.
This right here makes me so happy to
I
do
have
this.
it. I'm doing it right now, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think a lot of people, it's hard for me to be empathetic towards a lot of situations, and I try to be, because I know I should be. But any single person that lives in this country is more blessed than most people on this earth.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I'm not going to say it's the best country in the world. Okay, we have our problems. Everybody does. But there's so much that we have that it just, like we said earlier, you take it for granted.
Yeah.
So whenever people are complaining about tiny little things, and I've always said it this way too, if little things are tripping you up, whatever somebody's saying about you or whatever this is, you need bigger problems.
Yeah.
It's like, if that's what you're tore up about, you need a lot bigger problem to worry about in your life.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peterson, I don't know if you ever listened to him.
Oh, bro, I love Jordan.
I'm gonna butcher this, but he made a statement that was something along the lines of, growth comes through voluntary action on responsibility. Not responsibility that was thrown on you or just tossed at you that the world is going to do anyway.
Right.
But responsibility that you choose to take.
Like, it doesn't have to fall on you, but you choose to pick up that cross and carry it.
Right. And because when it falls on you, that's not the same thing.
Right.
Sure, there's going to be growth within that hardship, but it's from a hard lesson learned compared to, you look at people like Davey Hawkins, okay?
Dog.
Do you think he wants to do what he wants to do?
No, I think he does. I think he's so broken now. Well, no, because I feel like I've heard him say that he doesn't want to. Like he's like, you think I want to wake up at 5 in the morning and go run? No, but I have to. Now I have to because so many people count on me to do it. So now I have to do it.
He's wrote a couple books, and I've read both of them. And
What's the? I listen to the audio. I can't sit down and read a book. The only book that I can sit down and read is the Bible. I listen to a lot of audio books. Can't Hurt Me.
One of them's Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah. That's a good one.
That was the first one.
That's when he ran that 100-mile marathon in Colorado, right?
The Badland one.
Yeah.
But he mentions in there, it's like he hates running.
Yeah.
It's his least favorite thing to do. But that's what, I mean, he's known for a lot of stuff, but like that's the big thing that whenever you hear of him, that's what people think.
Right.
It's always ultramarathon runner, this, that, and all that. But in the same sense, it's like he's choosing to do that, and it's making him a better person.
Right.
You know?
I think it's deeper than that too, in the sense of that's somebody that I look at in the sense of like, are they Christian? I don't know. But do they have Christian core values? I'd say so. Like he's doing all those things because, not that he wants to do them, but because he knows that he might be, and it might not be something he touches on. I think his delivery too is, I always find it funny, but like the TikToks of like women's motivation versus men's motivation. Like women's is like, I'm enough, and men's is like, you're nothing. Like get up, go do something. So like the delivery is 100% for men. I don't know many women that would like listen to that and be motivated to go and run or do push-ups or whatever. But he knows that him saying this, like telling his story and showing him running 100 miles or whatever, somebody's going to be like, okay, I'm not doing enough. It's time for me to get up. So in that sense, like it's very Christian oriented and like helping people and like pushing people to be better. But he's doing it without talking about Christ, you know what I mean?
I think there's part of it too that you push yourself past the limit that you thought you had. That's a big thing. And we're all more capable, way more capable than we think we are. And it, like Charles, for example, okay? Charles asked me to go on a hike one time. This was not long after he started.
Yeah, I think you told me this, but tell it for the pod.
It was, I enjoyed it. It was a wonderful day. But we go up there, and he asked if I wanted to go on a hike with him. I was like, sure, that sounds fun. I enjoy hiking, going out, being in the woods and stuff. And he didn't fully tell me what the hike was until we're getting up to the point that now I've committed. Okay, so I can't back out on Charles.
Right.
I've already told him I'm doing this. We've got all this planned out. It ended up being, I think it was like 18.3 miles or something like that. And he told me that, and I was like, I don't know if I could do that. And in my mind, I really, genuinely did not know if I could do that. Because it's not a normal walking 18 miles on the road. Like, you're going up a mountain. And I get all my stuff ready. I'm like, you know what? It'll be fun. So we go. And it was the day after Thanksgiving, too. So we go up there, go real early in the morning, start in Pound, and you go all the way basically to Whitesburg. And that was horrendous. It's like we made it 3-4 miles in. I started shedding belts. The backpacks were heavy. I ran out of water because I brought way too little water. I thought 2 liters would be enough. It wasn't. I had to drink creek water. Okay, they're supposed to have water stations and all that. But it was hard to do. But not for a single second prior to that was I confident that I could finish that.
Right.
But I went in, and I'm glad I done it. We had a great time. We got to see beautiful views. We got to learn a lot about Charles. But I don't know. To me, it was something that I done it, and I was like, you know what? If I didn't think I could do this, and I done it, and like I'm okay. Like I'm not in the hospital. I'm not at the doctor. It's like I'm fine. I was sore. I hurt everywhere.
Right.
But I was fine. And to me, it's something that like I always think back on. Is that the hardest thing I've ever done? No. But it's something that is imprinted in me. Like any battle that comes up on me is something that, I can look back on that and be like, yeah, you can do it.
Yeah. I think David Goggins' rule is like when he feels like he's done, then he's still got 60% to do or something like that. Something crazy, bro.
It's something weird. Which, in the same sense, I was talking to one of my coworkers today, and we were talking about the story of David and Goliath, and there's a couple things with it that kind of stick out that you don't typically hear. So it's like everybody knows the story, right?
Right.
But if you think about this, and this is just my take, okay? whenever he came, and he was so confident to step up, right? And it's the obvious answer is he had faith towards God, right?
Right.
It's like he knew that God was on his side. My argument is, did the entire military standing there not have God on their side? It was God's people, right?
Right.
So why weren't they? Why didn't they have enough faith to stand up against him? And if you remember earlier in stories, you had David defend the sheep from the lion, right? He knew God had him.
Right.
So he done that as a little boy. This ain't nothing, So I think it's a great example. Like we all have those things that you can look back on when you get in a situation that's hard, it's holding you down. You feel like you can't make it through. You got to think back. We've all went through experiences that we did not enjoy.
Yeah.
You got to think back on that, and you made it through it.
Right.
You made it through it with God, whether you're with Him or not.
I mean, yeah, kind of going off of that, like you might not see Him physically, but just because you aren't with Him doesn't mean He's not with you. And I think when I heard something in a sermon, it's crazy that you just brought that up, but the church that I like watch every Sunday is based out of Atlanta, 2819. Shout out to my people over there. But he was talking. The main preacher was talking about in their church they don't call the people of the Bible characters because they're real people.
Right.
He was like, that's something that's gotten so lost that people talk about characters in the Bible as if they weren't like me and you, like they were of flesh just like us, and we idolize them and make them into superheroes. When in reality, David was a normal guy. He just had faith in God. And Moses and et cetera, they all had just an abundance of faith in God, and they got through situations that seemed impossible.
Yeah. And I mean, it's true too, because one of the things I loved working about at the college, and at the time, like I wasn't necessarily, and I'm still not. I wish I was way more knowledgeable than I am about it. But being at the college, you had so many mixed opinions and religions. It's like politically,
right,
religiously, whatever it may be. And I've always been the type of person, like, I don't have to agree with you. Okay, it's like, I have free will, you have free will. You can think whatever you want to think. And I'm not mad at you for that. I don't hate you for that. And I genuinely, I want to have the conversation with it to understand where you're coming from.
Right. I mean, we even had this conversation before I got into following Christ. Like, we talked about religion.
And a big part of it for me was, in no way to belittle or to try to pin somebody down, try to get them, try to one-up them.
Right.
But it's like, if me and you are not on the same page as something, there's a reason why, right? So what life experience did you have that makes you think that way?
Right.
What I want to understand.
Like, you're more like curious about like why they think the way they do, opposed to like trying to judge them for the way they think.
Because look, we've all lived different lives.
Right.
We've all had different experiences. We've all been on different ends of things. It's maybe you've had a better life, maybe you've had a harder life, and because of that, you've become a different type of product.
Right.
And to me, I think it's if more people done that, it would be a better world.
No, absolutely.
They kind of, you don't have to agree. We still don't have to walk away agreeing with each other, but at least I can understand where you're coming from,
right,
or why you think that way. But I always enjoyed it because I don't know, I just like talking and listening to some of the people from the different religions, seeing how they took things, regardless of what religion it was interesting to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just always enjoyed it, and so much of it is like they're so close. And I had this conversation this morning that somebody asked the question of like, was a guy that come in, and I won't name him out of respect, but he asked the comment. He said, he was Catholic, and he asked, if you follow Jesus, like, what religion are you? And to me, that's not a religion. It's like you either follow Jesus Christ or you don't.
Right.
That's it. Every single thing after that was added by man. It's a denomination.
Literally, yeah.
And that's not to say that one's
right see, that's what the denominations for me, it just gets cloudy because it's like certain denominations believe in certain parts of the Bible and not the other parts. So it's like, what are we doing? When I feel like we should if all denominations believe that Jesus Christ existed, isn't that who we should all be like trying to be more like? Why are we trying to create different pathways? Why can't we just follow Jesus Christ?
Well, to me, and growing up, I was always going to free will church, right? And then I had a spurt my teenage years, early 20s, I just ran wild. I didn't not believe in God. I just quit practicing. I didn't read the Bible. Didn't really pray a lot. Didn't follow after it. It's like I just kind of went wild.
Right.
And it, my experience when I was younger though was mainly just free will churches. So it's about all that I had. I was around some old regular churches a little bit, but not a ton. But I've been to Pentecostal churches, to non-denominational churches. The church I'm a member of now is a non-denominational church, but and some people could take this the wrong way, but I think a lot of the denominations, not only in Protestant Christianity, but Catholics also have different denominations.
Right.
Judaism has different denominations,
Yeah.
like they all do.
Yeah.
To me, what the difference is traditions. It's what you do. It's what you partake.
Right.
Some churches don't like to sing. Some churches do like to sing. Some churches take communion. Some don't. So, is it stuff that if you don't do this, you're not going to go to heaven?
Right.
Not necessarily, but it's traditional things that they kind of variate on, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, too, like it's just like, I'm not opposed to the church, but like the way I want to go, like the way I perceive like what I want out of a church is I want to learn. Like I'm supposed to be in front of somebody who knows more about Christ than I do, or knows more about Scripture than I do. So I want to learn something from it. I don't want to go sit there and sing for 20 minutes, and then have a pastor that's talking about, something that he knows somebody in the crowd is going through, opposed to somebody who's going up there, opening the Bible and saying like, this isn't me. God is talking through me through His Word. I'm not picking and choosing. I like this is why I am such a fan of 2019 Church, is all their sermons are fully based in Scripture. They're very much what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. I feel like that's what a lot of, they call it like woke Christianity, where they like tell you what you want to hear. Like, oh, all you have to do is get baptized and you're going to heaven. Well, or 2019 or 2819 Church is like, okay, you're saved, but like, is it for the right reasons? Like, are you building a relationship with God, or are you slacking? Or are you taking advantage of all the blessings He's given you, or are you not? So it's like, I enjoy it, and I think Matea likes being in the congregation. I don't necessarily need it. Like, yeah, there's benefits to it, of course, but like, I can watch something on, watch a stream Sunday morning, get my church in, spend my time with God, and then spend my own time with God, opposed to going to a congregation of people that, I heard a quote that really hit hard, and it said, a pastor said, the devil's more likely to find you in the church than at the bar. He said,
Yep.
the devil knows he has the person at the bar already, but he needs to win you back from God. And that hit hard.
I think a couple things. Firstly, I think how I was just talking to all the people at the college that had different backgrounds in religion.
Right.
That was something that I have found to be a common trait anyway on most people that don't follow Jesus, is somebody at a church somewhere pushed them away.
Right.
They said the wrong. They said, number one, I think that Christianity is supposed to be offensive. It's supposed to target us because
Right.
every one of us have desires and fleshly desires that we need to deny. So whenever you read Scripture, it should hurt. It should hurt your feelings. It should make you feel targeted.
But also, deeper than that, I feel like if you follow Christ in your soul and not just with your mouth, those words that you're reading that hurt your feelings should also push you to be better than what you are. That's
It should. It should
yeah,
encourage you.
yeah.
But the church I go to is kind of the same concept you was talking about, and I love the way the preacher does this. I think it would be boring to some people, but he picks a book in the Bible, he studies that scripture all week, and he gives a sermon over, 2-3 sections of this scripture. It's like if you're in the book of Isaiah, he'll give you Isaiah 1, 2, and 3. Not even. It's like you're reading 3 or 4 of the paragraphs and that's your church.
Right.
Is on Sunday, right? So he deep dives into that, correlates it out, explains it really well, and it's solely off Scripture.
Yeah.
And then the next week you come, you're getting the next 3 or 4, and so on. So you're just stepping through, you're working through that lesson in the Bible, and you like with the congregation thing. I used to be the exact same way. I felt like I didn't have to go to church, right? And I don't think that you necessarily have to constantly. I don't think you have to go on Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, this and that. But to me, the importance of it is like whenever you hear the word church, what does that mean to you? Is that the building that you're going to,
Right.
or is it the group of people inside of it?
Absolutely.
Because to me, it's the group of people, right? And for me, what's important about being part of that is you are surrounding yourself with like-minded Christians that push you when you're not able to push yourself.
Right.
They're holding you to a standard that behind closed doors, we all sin. We all fall short. We all slip up and make mistakes here and there. We do things we shouldn't do. But when you're surrounded by that group of people, it encourages you in some sense to do what you're supposed
Right.
to do.
Right.
And it's like for me in my specific situation, the men that I've got to be around in these men's ministry at the church encourage me to do that. They put me on the spot. It's like they'll call you out and we'll do a men's ministry meeting and they'll make me bless the food in front of everybody. So it's like, is that something that I would raise my hand and volunteer for?
Right.
No.
Right.
It's like, I ain't doing that. But they'll just call you out. And, they call you out. I can't be like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And even I'm blessed enough, one of the guys that I work with, he does the chapel at the hospital. So it's like, I don't know who the chaplain used to be, but ever since I've come, he's done the chapel. And I invited him to come to the men's ministry one night. He came, and literally the next day, I went to work, and he was like, hey, you want to start doing chapel on Fridays? I was like, that's a lot. Like, it's a big ask. But I've started doing it,
Right.
And am I giving the best sermons in the world? Absolutely not. Am I probably driving half the people when they're crazy? Yeah. But what it's done in some regard is it has forced me to make a lesson, to
Right.
study into Scripture, to give something to these people. And you don't have that many people that come in there. But still, even if one person, that's enough, And even if nobody came in there, I'm okay with that because it forced me to study into something.
Right.
I find hard to delegate time to at times. That you've got all these other things. Like I said, I'm working. You're trying to do stuff with your kid. I'm doing college classes, trying to do all that, and then I do all kinds of stuff around that. It's hard to kind of find that time to just sit down and focus on something.
Right. No, for sure.
For me, it's helped a lot to be around those people. I don't think per se that I'm not going to say you have to do it.
Yeah.
But I think there's more benefit to it than not going to.
Right. No, absolutely. And two, like, I think based off of like what you're saying, I had a similar conversation with a buddy of mine talking about like, I don't read enough. I want to, I just don't have the time right now. And I said, ultimately, you gotta think of it this way. It's a relationship with God. It's a relationship. So just like if you and your girlfriend are fighting and you're not getting along and you feel like you're more roommates than you are a couple, there needs to be work done in that relationship. If you put in the effort, more times than not, it's going to work out. But don't if you're listening to this and don't try to like say, well, me and my girlfriend had issues and I'm not putting enough effort, but in reality, she's not good for you. Don't apply that to your life from a human perspective. I'm saying between you and God. If you're putting in the effort, God sees that you're putting in the effort. Ultimately, the way I view it is, if you're really passionate about building that relationship and you don't have time, or you physically are doing something from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, if you continue to work and squeeze in opportunities to talk to God and read Scripture, eventually you're going to find yourself wanting to do it more, and you're going to cut all the bad things that are taking up your time to make more time for it. Because it's a relationship.
I think too, on top of that, when you give that time, God gives that time back.
Right.
He will give you the freed up space. And I know a ton of people that do this, that, especially living in the area that we do. I know, like I was saying earlier, I live pretty far away from anything.
Right.
I live in the middle of nowhere in the mountain, right? So whenever I'm driving to work, it's like a 50-minute drive every single morning just to get over there.
Yeah.
And what I do is, you can pray. I don't think you don't have to bow your head and close your eyes and have your hands together to pray. It's like you can have that conversation with God while you're driving down the
Right.
road. You know, I listen. It's called Bible Project. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but they do podcasts all the time that they'll cover different stories of the Bible, and they kind of dive into it a little bit deeper. And they've got all kinds of stuff, and it's great things to listen to. But no, I'm not sitting there reading the scripture, but it's something, and you're getting the insight, you're getting the
Yeah.
story, you're learning more about it. So I think there's a lot of different ways to do it too. I agree. I don't think there's any better way than sitting with an actual physical Bible in front of you, because I've got an iPad that I use all the time to go through and study scripture, and at times it's easier because I can cross-reference different versions of the
Right.
Bible, and it's a lot easier to research into these things with it. But you know, to me, nothing beats that paper book
Yeah.
of having a physical book in front of you.
No, I agree.
It's just an experience.
I'm about to take it to the beach tomorrow, so little sun, little just surrounded by God on the beach in Virginia. But no, I 100% agree with that. And two, I think I don't know where I'm at right now. It's like I know what my pillars look like, and I know that God is the main one. And the where I'm at now, which I'm sure people aren't gonna like, and I mean the way I see it is like I understand, but at the same time, there was too many years that I took God for granted, and I'll be damned if I do that again. So I mean, now God takes up a lot of my free time, like all the time that I used to spend watching TikToks or, scrolling through brain rot stuff on social media. I've been replacing with God, and ultimately, spiritually, I feel like emotionally, physically, I just feel better. I sent that book in the group chat. I definitely recommend you listening to it. Great book. But like stuff like that, like audiobooks based for Christian men. Listen to the George Janko podcast a lot of times. Sometimes he's definitely Christian and he believes in Christ and he's strong on that. But he also has a lot of guests that don't see the world the same way, and that's fine.
Right.
And like,
Well, I think too, whenever you look, when Jesus was here, who did he go to? What did
right,
he do?
right,
It's not even not to put us in the same light as Jesus, but it's like I've always made that argument that both of us have been around people that are not necessarily what you would consider good people,
right,
that are not doing good things,
Yeah.
and you don't want to get influenced by them, and we absolutely can. If that's the group of people that you're constantly hanging around, odds are, as much as we think that we're going to change them, they're probably going to negatively influence us. So I do think, for the most part, yeah, distance yourself from them and get away from them. But, I view it this way, too, with the tattoo deal. It's like, I never really cared about the tattoos. And as I've got older and Natalie's got older, people that have no idea who I am, their first impression of me is not the best.
Right.
It's like, if they do the tattoos, it's just off-putting to them.
yeah,
And it's like anybody that knows me, at least I would hope, likes me, is like, thinks that I'm a nice person. But, if some kid's parents, if she's got a friend and their parents don't really know who I am, and they just look at me, what do they think? And it's
Right.
like, part of that is like, I don't want to influence anybody poorly because of what I look like. I don't want that to affect her. But in that same sense, I think that, like every single thing you've ever went through happened for a reason.
yeah, no,
God
for sure,
put you through that for a reason.
for
And
sure.
it could be as simple as you can relate to that person that maybe don't want to walk in the church a little bit better than the guy that's walking in the church wearing a suit and tie and his tie and tie, right? And it's like, it's not to say that he's any better or worse than you, but you have the ability to appeal to a different group of people.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of power in that.
Yeah. I don't know if you have chat pulled up. Brew said, "Love the progress, Davey. We've come a long way. Proud of you, bub."
Thank you.
Brew, appreciate the follow, brother. No, definitely. I mean, but also too, it comes to the point of. I very much enjoy tattoos. Now that I'm saved, am I not gonna get them? No, I'll definitely get some more. But I think it's exactly that. It comes down to somebody just judging based off of like looks and not core values. Which, although that's not the way we live,
Right.
to extent, I mean, like, I'm sure there's been a situation where you're with Natalie and you're out and you see somebody and you're like, let's not go that direction.
Well, yeah, and I'm
But
not saying
yeah,
there's always
but
like,
different circumstances. I get it. I think there's always, I mean, a large part of that book talks about like um, being a man and like the difference between being a sheep and being a lion. And
right.
it definitely resonated a lot with me because before Evie, I was very much, hothead, crash out, uh, being a lion in the wrong instance, like trying to go out of my way to, not trying to go out of my way to start violence, but like making something bigger than what it needed to be.
Yeah.
So like in that book, it talks about like God was a lion, but he was also a sheep, and like the lamb aspect of like being gentle when needed to, and like navigating that as a dad and as a husband, and being able to know, okay, in this situation I need to be a lamb and I need to love on my daughter, but also I have to be a lion in the sense to protect her if someone was wrong.
Well, I heard it from Jordan Peterson, so I'll say it. But to me, it's the exact same thing you just said, but I love the way that he put it. And I'll probably butcher this again, but he said something along the lines of, it's like, if you are capable of using a sword and you choose to keep it sheathed, you are powerful.
Yeah.
You're strong. Right?
Oh, it's
If you are
I
not
know that
capable-
quote. He says,
I cannot remember it word for
dude,
word.
I made a TikTok with it. You as a man, you need to be capable of violence. That's the same. Yeah.
If you're
So
not, that doesn't mean you're peaceful. It just
right,
means you're
right.
weak. It's like
Right.
you're not capable of violence. So
Yeah.
you're not peaceful because you choose to be peaceful. You
Let me
have to
see.
be able to be capable of being violent
Yeah.
to actually be peaceful, because then you are now choosing.
Right. It almost makes you stronger in the sense of that you know that you're capable of doing it, but you don't do it.
Well, I think I didn't do it for a
Here it
super
is.
long time, but I done the
It's very
jiu-jitsu and
helpful for
boxing
people to
stuff.
hear that they should make themselves competent and dangerous and take their proper place in the world.
Competent and dangerous? Why dangerous?
Because it's the alternative to being weak. And weak is not good. The people who shoot up the high schools, they're weak.
Saying men should be dangerous. By dangerous, that implies I should be ready to threaten someone, hurt somebody.
No, you should be capable.
Dude, that's hard.
One thing too, it's
But the guy's reaction to him saying that it says everything it needs to be. Like because the words that Jordan used wasn't saying like you should commit violence. He said you should be capable of it. You should be able to, if need be, use whatever violence to protect those around you, not just your family, but those around you.
and what I was saying too, I didn't do it for a super long time. It was about a year, but I done jiu-jitsu and boxing for a little bit at that gym on Cloyd.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it. I loved the guys that was up there. It was real fun to do. But what I noticed was, it's like you're going in there and getting absolutely wiped every single day, okay? And it by people smaller than you, people younger than you, don't matter. And it's an ego killer. It absolutely kills you. And I don't think it's for everybody because of that. Some people are just, they're too full of themselves, so they're not going to want to do that because they can't admit, hey, I lost. But something I noticed with that, and every single person that went in there and become good at doing it were the most calm, peaceful, polite, nice people there was. They're the ones that's like some guy at a bar yelling at you, getting in your face. He don't know how to do it.
Right.
He don't know how to, because he don't know what people are capable of. But the guy that trained and fought, he's relaxed.
Yeah.
He don't want to fight somebody. He don't want the violence because he knows what it is. And I think it's the same exact situation, but it makes sense. It's like you're capable of doing it, but you know the repercussion of doing it, and because of that, you choose not to.
Right. Which is why I think too. It I don't know what it is, but it bothers me to the sense of like, why do not all fathers have that? You know what I mean? Like for us, we will definitely like kill or be killed for our families. But like, why does not every man have that? Like in that book, he talks about a daughter who is like raped and abused by this guy, and she goes to her dad, and her dad goes to the guy, and her dad is basically such a sheep that he's like, don't do that again, like begging him to stop. And then he does it again, and the daughter tells him like, hey, he's did it again. And he's like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I told him to stop. Like, I asked him to stop. Like, no, absolutely not.
Well, I think a lot of it too is it. I've heard it a lot from a lot of different people. When you start looking at like ultra successful people, almost every single one of them have went through really tough hardship. Not all,
Right.
but most. Right? In the same way, when you look at the guys that are really capable, really tough, they have went through situations that have forced their hand to be that way. And because of that,
Well,
they're
hold
more
on.
capable.
Let's backtrack a little bit. When you say, like, you're saying successful people, like in the sense of
Well,
like what, like money or like fame? What are we talking?
Whatever you want to fill in with. It could be money, it could be fame, or whatever the case. But like in that example specifically, we'll use the fact that a strong man, it's not physically, but mentally strong man that's capable
I
of
got you.
protecting. Because to be brave is not, oh, you're strong, you're big, you're this, you're
Right.
that. It means
David, call back.
regardless of
But
what
yeah,
it is,
right.
you're going,
Right.
right? It's like you don't have to have any ability, but with that, you don't get that from not going through experiences. You don't get that from going through an easy pedaled life,
Right.
you know? And any single person, like you could sit here and name off people that you know have that kind of attitude. Look at their life.
Right.
Did they have an easy path? No. But even the David Goliath story. Did David has an easy path up to that? Absolutely not.
Well, let me ask you
You know,
this:
and
how much do you account testimonies in the Bible to faith, and how much do you account to bravery? Because I feel like, to an extent, faith will outshine bravery in the sense of like, for David, yeah, if somebody was just talking about his story, they'd say he's brave. But also, I think it ultimately is all encompassing that he believed so strongly that God would protect him. And
But
and knowing like I follow, like my relationship with God is so strong that if I do die in this situation, I know God's got me. So like for me, it's more faith than it is bravery. But
I
like
would
at the
almost
same
make the
time,
argument
as a
that-
person, we would describe David as brave. You know what I mean?
Right. I would make the argument that to be brave and to be faithful, in that sense, are the same thing.
Hmm.
Is it not brave to be faithful?
Especially
it-
today, yeah.
To have faith. Let's just,
Right.
like a lot of people probably don't look at it this way, but if you, without a doubt, 100%, and as today's world, we want proof. We want physical, scientific evidence, proof that this is a thing, right? And if you don't, people are unsure. They sit and argue about it. They go on, whatever. And to me, a big part of faith is I cannot, as much as I want to, and the people that I've sit and debated with over it, and again, I wish I knew a lot more than I did because it'd probably make them more beneficial. But if they don't believe in God, they don't follow Jesus, they don't believe in the Bible, how can your argument be scriptures to them because they don't believe in the scriptures?
Right.
They discredit them because it's out of the Bible,
Right.
right? So it's like, to have faith, you have to have a little bit of uncertainty, right? Maybe a sliver of it, but there has to be some of that for it to truly be faith. If it wasn't, that would be certainty. It's not faith.
Right.
If you were certain of it, there is no faith in that because you know it's rewarded to you. So it's like we all have a little bit of uncertainty of, are you going to make it? Do you really get to spend eternity with God? Right? Or are you living right? And I think to some degree, at least I do, you have those doubts of like, I know I could be a better person. I know that I still mess up on certain things. So it's like, to me, that's that uncertainty of like, even if, to me, Jesus is certain 100%, but am I doing right? Am I doing everything I need to do? Right? And it's not about what I do at all. It's like he died for that. And that's that. There is nothing
Right.
else on top.
Right.
But to me, it's in that same sense. For you to be brave on something, you have to have a little bit of uncertainty. And if there wasn't a little bit of uncertainty, it wouldn't be bravery because you'd be sure that you'd win.
Right.
Right? So
Well,
it's
also
like,
too, I think we need to drive home that fact too, on the sense of before I got back into following Christ, I had too many questions. Once I subsided and, I don't need answers to these questions, and I started leaning more on God, and then, I got baptized March 23rd. From that point forward, what I can't fathom is, as a parent,
Yeah.
I know how much I love Evie. And I know through teachings in the Bible that they're, like, you look at Abraham, right? Abraham had so much faith that God wasn't going to actually let him kill his son. But he was like, okay, you want him, like, I'll sacrifice him to you. But, like, I think deep down he knew, like, he's not going to let me. He just wants to see if I'm about it. And he was. He was about to do it. And then God was like, okay. But this is for me, right? As a Christian, we believe in the stories of the Bible, and we believe that God sent Jesus to earth to basically sacrifice him for our sins, right? To basically get a one-up on the devil, like, hey, you might be here running the day-to-day, but, like, I'm in charge still. He sent his son, knowing the outcome, and then listening to the scripture and hearing Jesus be anxious about the situation, like, this might be too much. I don't think I'm worthy to, like, endure this pain for everybody to ever exist sin, right? But God knew the outcome, and as I'm trying to think of it from a father perspective. As much as I would like to say, yeah, if I were to, like, I could sacrifice Evie for the great of, like, all humanity, I would. But ultimately, I think it's my physical body that's like, no, I won't.
And I agree with that, but you also have to look at it in the perspective, I feel, of we are God's children. We are his creation.
Right.
It's like, yes, Jesus is his son, and he's given his son for that. But we are also his sons. So it's like, to some degree, it's kind of... Because even in the sense you said, like, he knew, right? I take this from how many times, like, you take prayer requests from people, right? Especially in churches. You get to a point that, like, everybody's raised their hand and told their prayer request or whatever, and you get to the point that the preacher will ask, is there any unspoken prayer request? Pretty much everyone in that room raises their hand, right? And it's like, you don't even have to speak it. If it's a thought in your head, if it's something that is going on, if there's a need that you have, God already knows what it is.
Right.
You don't have to, right?
Right.
And in that same sense, I think that he knows every single thing you're going to do.
Yeah.
From now to the time that you leave this earth, right? So there's nothing that you do that's going to surprise him.
Right.
And in that same way, it's like he knows what all that is, but you also have the free will, right? Because that's a question all the time. People throw that up of saying, oh, if God was such a loving, wonderful God, why does he let this happen? Why does he let that happen?
Right.
And it's like, there has to be a certain free will that,
ooh, okay.
If I created...
I just heard something I got to share with you because it's so good. I saw a story of a professor, like a science professor, saying that God wasn't real, okay? And I can't remember what he asked the kid. He asked the student, like, is God real? And the guy, no. Like, the kid was like, yes. And then the professor basically, like, gotcha moment and told him that God wasn't. So another student stood up and was like, is darkness real? And the professor was like, well, of course. And then he's like, actually, darkness is just a lack of light. And there's another point that he made. It's like, is cold real? Like, is temperature cold real? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, no, it's actually just the absence of heat. So, like, you saying that God's not real is the same as those two concepts. There is, like, the word cold is made up by man, but in reality, cold is just the absence of heat. So for you to say, okay, well, this is bad, completely negates your argument, because for you to say that this is bad means that good has to exist. So what is good?
Right.
And if good, and you're saying if good is not God, then why is good capable if people are the ones that are committing bad? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's such a try to get you moment argument type.
there's a lot of different scriptures that show it's like, as humans, you know, every one of us, we're pretty good at hiding it, but we're all to some point. We are greedy, we're selfish, we're envious, we're hateful. It's
Yeah.
like we're full of all these bad things, and it's just what we are, right? And it's, I think it was Jordan Peterson, but I can't really remember. But it was a hard question to think of somebody like Hitler, right? It's like every single one of us can mutually agree what he done was just absolutely atrocious.
Absolutely.
Right? It was an evil thing to do, regardless of how you feel about it. What he done was evil,
Right.
right? With that being said, he was human. That's what humans are capable
Right.
of. And he's one of many examples that you could use throughout history, even in biblical times through scripture stories. Of, you know, look at the story of Cain and Abel. They are human beings, and that's what they're capable of. That's what we are capable of. And I think a lot of that is like when you talk about evil, who are we? What is our acknowledgement of life to know the difference between good and evil?
Right.
And it happened in the garden, and you've seen that difference there. And it's like, I get what you're saying. I agree with that, but I do think there's two sides of it.
Yeah.
And in the same sense, I was wondering, like, you're an Adams podcast that you've done. You had brought up the story of Satan in Jesus in the desert, right? And
Right.
Satan's tempting Jesus
Yep.
and all that. So it's like Earth today is currently Satan's domain.
Yeah.
Right? Ultimately, God's still all powerful, but as of now, since Adam and Eve,
The best way I've
done-
heard it described is God owns the earth, but the devil runs it.
All right.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the story of them in the desert, look at the things that Satan offers to Jesus. How can he offer that if it is not his?
Right.
So it's like, to some degree, the world we live in, and this. I
Ooh,
think
that's
a
good,
big part of
Davey. I never thought
When
about
you-
that.
when you start to get into reading scripture and following your faith and getting a closer relationship with Jesus, I think that it becomes easier for you to see a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been on both sides. I've seen it. I used to listen to rap all the time. Used to go through all this, like, just constant.
Yeah.
You sound crazy. If you're gonna go tell somebody that Playboy Cardi's listening to that's satanic music, look at this, you're crazy. Get out of here. You're not
Yeah,
cool. Leave
right.
us alone. Right? That's the attitude that the world gives you, but it's because Satan controls it.
Right.
That's what's in your face. Go look at his album right now. You've got pentagrams. You've got all this imagery of it.
Dude,
it's just like, it's so-
you know what I listen to on a day-to-day basis? I listen to Christian podcasts. I listen to Christian music. I don't know if you, this song has me and Mateo in a chokehold right now. Josiah Queens put out a song called Dusty Bibles. Oh, so good.
that is
but
good.
It, dude,
I've listened to a lot
it's
more of it.
absurd. It's absurd.
I've definitely changed quite a bit of my music taste. And I'm not gonna say I never listen to rap because it still will come on my phone,
Yeah.
whatever, and I halfway like it. But I have noticed it's like as
It's
I
like,
grow,
yeah,
I try to get.
yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying too. It's like
Yeah.
if you say that to somebody, they think you're crazy.
Right.
You are out of your mind.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? But it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I see
Well, there's
it in the
brainwash.
movies, It's on, with even the imagery. You know, you look at. I remember as a kid. I can't remember how old I was when I seen this. Do you ever remember seeing the video of that woman that had a like fold-out table set up with all the Monster cans on it?
Yes, yes.
Preaching and all
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
She's not wrong.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
at the
yeah,
time,
yeah.
I was one of the ones making fun of her,
Right.
but it's true. And it's like, I get it. Is that company truly malicious? I don't know, but it is Monster,
Yeah.
and the can does say 666 in Hebrew.
Yeah.
So, what am I supposed to think about?
Right. No, you got a
To
point.
the point, like, you know what? I ain't drinking that no more.
Yeah.
And it obviously, I feel like it's more of a play on words that, oh, it's the brand Monster. Let's
Right.
do this. Ha,
Unleash
it's
the
funny,
beast.
right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But to me, it's covered everywhere. You've got stuff like, look at the Converse logo, look at the Starbucks logo. It is everywhere, thrown in your face.
Yeah.
Constant. And I think part of it is it's Satan controls the world.
Yeah.
And whether that company is trying to be malicious about it or not is besides the point. I think that it's they push it so much.
Right.
Because it desensitizes you to be around.
Well, see, I think it's deeper than that too. I think one of the biggest things that I keep hearing, and it's not just from one perspective. It's I listen to what's it called, Infinite Youth, or Unlearned Wisdom with Johnny Chang. I listen to the George Jango podcast. I listen to a whole bunch of different stuff, and it's more now. It's a tack on the Christian way of life. Like it's not, and I don't mean it in a malicious way. I just think that it started like it was a fad to be anti-Christian, and then now, like what's that movie? The movie about Kiss, right? I used to be a huge Kiss fan. Now, granted, if a Kiss song comes on, I'm gonna listen to it, you know. And like I was, somewhat sad that Ozzy Osbourne passed. He calls himself the Prince of Darkness. So like, in the sense of that movie with Kiss, it's like all these Christians that are so against it. And it's like this is the Satan's music. So like, I get it, but also like it's good music. Like if I'm listening to a song and it says something about like worshiping the devil or something, I'm not listening to it anymore.
I've had these arguments before, and I hate to call them arguments. Okay, it's like
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with these people.
It's
You
conversations.
ultimately-
Yeah.
Right. It's like I'm having I'll call it a debate.
Right.
I know people, and even myself included. It's like when you start talking about something like Halloween, right? Is that really the best thing for me to be participating in, bringing my child in a night of witchcraft and
Yeah.
raising the dead and like all that is so blatantly obvious that that's demonic.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, do I think that the holiday itself of Natalie dressing up as a princess going trick or treating is demonic?
Right.
No. Right. So I'm not going to take that from her.
Well, I think it's like
But-
it's a catch-22. Like, do you fully partake in Halloween in the sense of like talking about how it was invented and doing X, Y, Z, or is it an opportunity for Natalie to go get candy? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it can be taken, but I
Right.
know people that take it to that extreme.
Yeah, no,
It's like, we're not doing it.
that's wild.
You know?
That's wild.
And in the same way, like you said, not listening to the music, not listening to the movies. I agree to some extent. That, like, there's certain things that you just don't need to listen to. And it's like, I used to love Lil Uzi Vert, right? I loved his music. I love listening to it. But it's like listening back to that now. If a song comes up randomly and I'm listening to it, I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I'm listening to the lyrics and I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I like the music part of that. And I like how his voice sounds over it.
Right.
I don't like what he's saying though.
Right.
So it's like I have to weigh that option of should you listen to it, and for me, probably not, because it makes me feel a certain type of way. It pushes me into a lot, and I think a lot of people. You look at games like Grand Theft Auto. Okay, I play that like crazy. But if all I'm doing is playing Grand Theft Auto, listening to rap music, talking about killing people and this and that, and selling drugs and girls and all this, it's like if that is what I'm filling my life with, what do you think my life is going to become?
Right.
In the same way, you study scripture, you pray all the time. What do you think your life's going to become?
Davey, you're preaching
get
right
out.
now, brother.
And I don't know. And I don't want to be that crazy. I'm not going
Right.
to tell you not to listen to music.
Well,
not
it goes off
whatever
like
you do.
I mean, I know some Christians that are really deep into like manifestation, like speaking things into existence.
Right.
But like at the same time, like you're a Christian, right? That shouldn't be the way you go about it. But if that's that's how you do things, you do it, right? Ultimately, I think you can be. I think it. Do you think to an certain point, like your relationship with Christ, like where you stand with Christ, then is a little more forgiving and partaking in things of like the flesh, like listening to music that you probably shouldn't, as long as you have a good relationship with Christ? Or do you feel like, because ultimately I feel like if you get to a certain point, kind of like what you said, I feel the same way. There's stuff I listen to now where I'm like, I'm good on that. I don't want to listen to that anymore.
I'm torn on it because even doing what we're doing now, right? We are publicly confessing, and you could word it in a way that we're preaching. We're talking about Jesus Christ,
Right.
which I like to do.
Yeah,
right?
no, absolutely.
And even when I'm doing the chapel thing at the hospital, okay, I enjoy doing it, and I think that it does make me better. But I also know that there's scripture that because we're doing what we're doing, we will be judged harsher.
Right.
So part of that intimidates me a little bit. I can't lie about that.
Right.
So it's like, to some degree, yes. It's like, do I still listen to some songs that I probably don't need to? Absolutely. Do I still watch movies that I probably shouldn't? Absolutely. Do I still mess up all the time? Absolutely. But I don't think that it's necessarily, I don't use it as a way, it's like, oh, I've built this relationship with God now and I'm working on it, so I can listen to this and I'm okay. I think that it's baby steps in the same way, like a lot of people won't turn to God or go to church because they're, oh, I need to fix this first.
Right,
Right?
right. I just talked to
No,
somebody about
you
this.
don't. And it's like, you need to go to church so you can fix this with God
Yeah,
because you can't fix it by
yeah,
yourself.
absolutely.
And in that same way, it's like as you go through that relationship with Christ, we are still both. I'm a little bit older than you, but I don't know if you feel like I'm old or not, but
No, I don't
it's
feel that way.
close enough that we're in the
Yeah,
same somewhat generation, right? And to me, we have been so exposed to so many things in the world that, you know, who knows how long that's going to take to fully wash out of us,
right.
to fully dissolve out of us, to not kind of have those same mindsets. Because I know that we've both been in experiences that we probably shouldn't have been, don't want to be in,
Right.
but that's still stained in your mind.
Yeah.
It's still memory in your head. There's still, you know, who you are as a person still was built from that. So I think that a big part of it is like, absolutely, you're going to still listen to it. You can't just cold turkey quit it. But eventually, I think throughout your walk with God, you're going to shed that
Right.
off.
Well, I think
I think
it's
you
the
can
same with
do it.
anything though. Like you said, you can't get rid of it without God. So in that sense, like I got baptized and I was like, okay, I'm done cussing. How long do you think that lasted? Like I want to
Not
say
very
that I want to say I cussed the night I got baptized and I was mad, but it goes into, I think it's more. I feel like there's a lot of people that confess their like faith in Christ with their mouth, but not their soul.
right.
And until you get to a point where you want to live, sleep, eat, everything you want to do is with God, then you're not fully following Christ. And in that aspect, you're not going to wash those things away that you need to. Because for me, it's not like I was like, you know, I'm not going to listen to this. I'm not going to change. That's not what the case was. There's a two-parter for why I stopped cussing. One, because I felt like in some way, every time, and it was, I heard somebody talking about Genesis, the book of Genesis, and the creation, and how God had Adam name all the animals. He's like, God could have named the animals, more than capable, but he had Adam do it to show that his tongue and what came off his tongue mattered. And I was like, okay. So I always thought that cussing wasn't that bad, you know, no big deal. Maybe I'd say GD, but like everything else, you know, that can fly.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, it matters. Let me cut back. So I stopped cussing, and then also I have a sponge that follows me around whenever I'm home. And dude, I'll say something that she thinks is funny. She's gonna repeat it. So there's a
I
two-parter.
think,
But now
I
I've
think
gotten to a
me
point
too.
where when I cuss, I get mad, bro. I'm like, I can't believe I did that. You know, it's like an anger thing. But I'm watching these things in my life. I didn't say I was gonna stop listening to certain type of music. It just got to the point where it doesn't resonate with me anymore. I can't relate to
That right there
something
is
that I was
perfect.
listening to in high school because I'm not the same person. I don't want to listen to somebody talk about going and hitting a lick and robbing people. That's not what I'm on right now. I'd much rather listen to somebody talking about how, you know, there's dust on our Bibles.
Right.
That's what
I
I'm
get
on.
that too. And I think you worded that perfectly because it's not that you're trying to quit doing these things. It just comes
Yeah.
naturally once you start following Christ, you know.
In your
And,
soul,
and it like
though. It's got to be in your soul. You can't just
gotta be
say
in
that you
your soul.
follow Christ. It's got to be
And
you 100% follow Christ.
so if you just confess with your mouth, and sure, there's tons of people that just
Yeah.
they publicly they want the image because it's a good image, right?
Yeah.
And to some degree, yeah, we all care a little bit about what people think about us, right? Maybe not a lot in some cases, but I don't really care what other people think about me.
Right.
They're not the one that judges me. They're not. They don't pay my bills. They do nothing for me. They don't feed me. But why do I care what they think?
Right.
Right. To some degree, but this was something you said it that the power of your tongue. I think that's a big part of it because personally, I've not cussed in years, but I kind of just worked that out myself,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it come from it wasn't even. I hadn't really fallen back into following Christ the way that I do now when I even done it. So it's like that wasn't the reason. I just, you know, the way that I was raised, if you so much, my dad put a bar of soap in my mouth for
Yeah.
saying the word sucks. I didn't want to go to a soccer game. And I said, my
No, it's
feet suck.
crazy. I got
Put a
bars
bar
of
of
the
soap.
I got bars of soap in my mouth for way worse than sucks. I could believe that.
But with that being said, it kind of was ingrained in me that like I just naturally I never really cussed in front of women or kids anyway. It was like around guys, especially with the work that I've been in. It's always been kind of maintenance. I've always been an electrician. Like even now, I'm around a lot of women when I'm working, but there's still the maintenance guys. Like my office is in the same office as all the maintenance guys, which luckily it's a small team, and 90% of them are very devout Christian men.
Right.
So it's a wonderful group of people for me to be around.
Yeah.
But working at the college, it wasn't like that. The jobs I had before that wasn't like that.
Dude,
And
I literally gave my life to Christ and then went into blue collar work field where I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of men that don't believe in God, and they
It's
just
rough.
say whatever they think, and that is, dude, it was so hard. Cause that's me and Matea. We're like we need to fix it. Like this is a problem. Like we cuss too much, so like we start making corrections. And Matea said it, and I 100% like fully agree. It's not hard when it's just us. It's not hard to not cuss. But when we get into conversations with people we've talked to for years, and we're like chopping it up, going through a flow, it's gonna slip. This is like that. You gotta break those habits. And it's weird. It makes me feel weird when I'm talking to somebody that knows me, like they've known me, and I'm like some yeah, freak, and they're like, who are you? Yeah.
Okay, I like this a lot because it flat makes people mad. Okay, and there's some part of it that I kind of like saying it because people will comment because it's abnormal. And again, in the world that we live in, and it tells you in scripture like they look what they done to Jesus. What do you think they're going to do to us? Right?
Yeah.
Same sense.
Jesus said they hated me. They're definitely gonna hate you.
They're going to hate you, right? And in that same sense, it's like if you go into those blue collar fields and you're not cussing, you're not doing the things these other people are doing, you're the standout, you're the weirdo.
Yeah.
Right? And
The square, some
right.
would say. Yeah.
And I've had people multiple times now kind of come up to me and they comment about me not cussing. And which is weird, right? Because that's not even brought up in a conversation. Like, why are you just bringing up, why don't you ever say cuss words?
Right.
Why is that even a thing? But I don't even remember where I heard it from, but I was like, hey, if you got to use those words, that just means you're not intelligent enough to know enough. Your vocabulary is not big enough, so you got to fill in a lot of words with those. I get it, nothing against you, but it eats them up. It makes them so upset, and I just love it. But to some degree, I think that's kind of true,
Hold on, Davey. I just got a notification. Somebody's at my garage. And there should. Okay, it's Matea. All right, we're good. I was like, wait a minute. That shouldn't be the case. But continue.
It's not
Sorry.
good.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I think is, like I said, you're just naturally going to change.
Right.
It's stuff that you learn through growth of that, and if you genuinely follow Christ, it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm not too concerned. It's like, obviously there's fake Christians out there, but I ain't really worried about it. It's like I'm worried about me and my relationship with him and who I can help.
Right.
And a lot of it, I think, too, is, and I used to have these conversations with people that didn't believe, in the sense that, like, I wouldn't push it super hard on them. I'd be a little bit pushy, but I also tried to not be that person that they walked away and was like, you know what, I don't want to be like that. But I've always heard it referred to as like plant the seeds. Like you be an example. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. I've not drunk in a long time. I don't even know how long, but I commonly will probably ask too many questions, more than I should, at least. Question things that I probably shouldn't question, but it's just who I am. I've always done it, right? And one of the guys I work with, he's just super knowledgeable. So I have these conversations with him, and me and him was talking about like drinking. It's like, why, you have so many arguments of people saying you should or shouldn't drink as a Christian if you're going to church and this and that. And it's like, technically the scripture is worded in a way that says it's against drunkenness, right? So it's like, you could take that way. And firstly, I think that you can take scripture whatever way you want to take it, and you can manipulate that into whatever you want to think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I mean, it's done every day.
All right. And if you're questioning something that you're going to research, I think some part of you already knows the answer that you're going to come to
Right.
because it's pretty well predetermined in your head before you even look at it.
Right.
Right. With that being said, absolutely, I think if somebody wants to drink and they go start studying that, then they're going to come away from that and say, "Oh no, it don't say anything about drinking. It says something about being drunk." Right. And the way that he explained it to me, because I'll do that too. And it was actually one of the classes I took in college it was critical thinking, and I liked the way that it done it because what they would do is they would give you an assignment. It was all essays. Every single assignment was an essay, and it would give you extremely controversial political topics, and it said pick one. You'd have 4 or 5 options. It said pick one, but then you would have to pick one, and then tell the teacher a brief summary of your stance on that topic. Right? The teacher would reply and say, "Okay, write me an argument essay against what you think," because there's no bias in it. I hate that now.
Yeah.
Right? Because I told you what I thought and what I believe, and you're gonna make me write a paper from the other side of that to counter argue it.
Right.
But doing that kind of it gave me the idea of really how to question things critically to give yourself a good argument, because we're all going to be biased, right?
Right.
So it's like if me and you agree on something and we're trying to come to a conclusion, then that's a pretty easy conclusion.
Yeah.
One of us need to disagree,
Mhm.
right? And I was just talking to him, and a lot of it I made it clear. I was like, "Listen, I'm not saying that I personally think this. I'm just giving you the arguments that I've heard before." Right?
Yeah.
And the way he worded it, I liked so much because the way he put it basically was, the whole argument if it's okay to drink or not, who cares? The main point of that is if I'm going to church and I'm publicly telling people that I'm a Christian and I'm talking about God to people and I'm putting this out there to the world, but then that person that heard me an hour ago comes in and sees me drinking and acting like an idiot, what kind of example am I setting to them?
Right.
What kind of person do I look like to them? Because I just sat here an hour ago preaching to them, and now because I'm doing that, if they held me to any type of standard, they're going to say, "Hey, that's okay for me too."
Yeah.
And like, I kind of agree with that. Like the whole argument of if you should, shouldn't, don't really matter. It's you being a good influence. You
Right.
walking in a way that is a light for Christ, not
Right.
a way of what you want to do.
Well, also
you know?
too, in that same instance of like, the Bible says, like Jesus, I think it's in the book of John. He says, any followers that lead other followers to sin might as well. I can't remember the exact wording, but it's basically like tie a brick around them and throw it in the sea.
Right.
So like in that instance, that makes a lot more sense opposed to in maybe my setting of like, I typically am the one in the friend group that doesn't drink. I have people that drink, cool. If anything, alcohol is being pushed on me.
Right.
I don't, honestly, I didn't even really stop drinking because of following Christ. I just don't, I did it so much, I don't enjoy it anymore. Like,
I done the same. I don't like it.
I don't have any, like, do I miss drinking sometimes? Yeah, but like having a beer is not, I don't want to get wasted, especially like I don't want to be in a situation where I can't protect Mateo and Evie. I don't drink if Evie's with me, I will not drink. If I'm at my house, I might have a drink if people are over, but I have no interest in it. Like I'll have like a seltzer and I'll be like, not in the mood.
I get it. And I mean, I get it too because it's like I still vape,
Yeah.
and I hate that I do, but nicotine just has this crutch on me that I honestly I don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
It's like I do, but in the back of my mind, I really don't.
Yeah.
And regardless of what it is, if it's a drug or a drink or whatever, everybody kind of has that thing, and that's I think a big part of how we were talking earlier with the churches and certain types of Christians.
Right.
It's like you're not the real Christians. It's
Yeah.
like if I'm so worried about what you're doing and not what I'm doing, I'm looking at the wrong stuff, right? Absolutely. It's like as followers of Christ, I need to hold you accountable, and you need to hold me accountable. If I'm stepping off the sidelines here, you need to be rough on me. You need
Yeah.
to pull me over and be like, "Hey, listen, no, you don't need to be doing this,"
Right.
But at the same point, I don't need to be going and preaching to random people that they don't need to be drinking.
Yeah.
Or they don't need to be smoking, or they don't need to be cussing, or they don't need to be doing this. Because who am I?
Right.
How is their sin any worse than my sin?
Well, also
know?
too, it's based off of values, right? Like we have the similar values. If I was doing something that, you know, is going to hurt somebody or hurt me or, you know, basically like give me like a one-way ticket to hell, I
Right.
would want you to be like, hey, what are you doing, right? And vice versa. But I think the issue definitely that I've run into is not correcting, but like I'm trying to talk to somebody the way I would want to get talked to with my values, but I'm talking to somebody who does not have the same values. So like
What
I get the, oh, well, you know, your advice isn't good. Well, what was my advice? Like, give your life to Christ. That sounds like great advice to me. So, like, I'm sorry you didn't like it, but, like, honestly, that's how I feel. And I feel like God told me to tell you that. It's not me talking just out of my neck like, hey, you know,
No.
you're dirty. You need to give your life to Christ. It's like, oh, you're struggling. You know, you feel like you're at rock bottom and you've got here solely based off of your power. Okay, so what harm is it to give your life to Christ?
Right.
Like, you feel like
When I,
you're here because of solely you, then maybe that's the option, you know?
I've heard this before. I think you'll love it. If you genuinely think that Jesus Christ is the way to heaven and your ticket to eternity, like you get to spend eternity with Jesus, and you don't tell somebody about it, how much do you got to hate that person?
Yeah,
You know, and I think it falls back earlier how we said too, like the world is going to hate you.
right.
If you, and the same thing how I said that, you know, when you're reading scripture, I think that to some degree it's supposed to hit you.
Right.
When you walk in that church, you're supposed to feel like that
Right.
preacher's talking to you. And ideally, not forever, right? But it's like if you're new and you're going in there, I promise you that preacher is not targeting you out of the 200 people sitting in that church
Right.
preaching directly to you. But if you feel targeted from that, maybe you need to take that
Yeah.
adjustment. Don't get mad
Yeah.
at the preacher. You need to step back out of that and be like, why did I feel so targeted right there?
Right.
You know, because a bunch of other people in that church probably did too. You just don't feel that. You
Right.
don't understand that. They're not telling you that. But I think a big part of it, just like you said, even if it's one of your best friends, and it's like I have all kinds of friends that, you know, they would probably identify as Christians, but they don't ever do anything. So it's like,
Yeah.
what are they? But they don't do those things. And in the same sense, if I went and tried to tell them not to drink, or if I tried to tell them not to do this or whatever, they're probably just gonna get mad at you. You know, it's like they don't see it that way. But I think it falls right back into how we said, like the world is gonna hate you.
Yeah.
It's like when you're stepping out and you're being the different one, you're the one that's rejecting the flesh. They're gonna put you down.
Yeah.
They're gonna reject you. They're gonna quit inviting you. They're gonna all that stuff. You get rejected.
Yeah. Well, too, this is, I think, I talk about it every time, and let me see if I can do it without getting choked up because it gets me every time. What really, like, lit a fire under me to get right with Christ was, and it's solely my side. Christ had put me through situations to make me better, and I took them as punishments and not him trying to build me to be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I wouldn't say resentment. It was like I was like, curse you, God, but it was just like I didn't understand. Now, what really lit a fire under me, like you need to do better, is I heard, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, like if you get into heaven and somebody that you know doesn't, once you're in heaven, you'll never have any recollection that they existed. So in my mind, I imagine Matea, who has followed Christ her entire life, waiting for me on a park bench, and I never get there.
Right.
But she doesn't know who I am because I never got there. And dude, when I tell you, every time I tell that, like my eyes get watery, I get cold chills, because that's my person, bro. Like that's my best friend. I feel like on so many multitudes, God put, like, crossed our paths for a reason. Like, even, like, professional-wise, like, I meet her, we start talking, I go to meet her parents, months later, find out her dad does HVAC. My dad did HVAC.
Yeah.
Fast forward 8 years, I'm in Georgetown, working in an HVAC company, helping her dad as an adult in ways that I couldn't help my dad when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like with such strong faith in God, like I know that I'm here for a reason, and I know that His, like even smaller details than that, like my freshman year, before I even knew Matei existed, my car breaks down on the way to Pikeville. I stop in a small town, no clue where it's at. Bro, we literally live a mile away from the tire shop that I stopped at. No clue that didn't know what Georgetown was. And here I am
On that,
living right up the road.
I agree with you so much in the point of, I genuinely feel like every single, and we look at it in a way, I think as humans, every one of us are obviously going to do this. It's like if you go through a situation, somebody passes away, right? And we've both been through that. Not fun at all,
Right.
right? We commonly will look at that like, why me, right? Just like you said, you got put through something, and it's not necessarily that you're blaming God, right? But it's like, why me? What did I do to deserve
Right.
this? Why is everything bad happening? Like you feel that way,
Yeah.
and it happens so much.
Right.
And at least for myself, it's like every single person in your life, quit worrying about if it's good or bad.
Right.
Quit worrying about, oh, that was a good situation, this was a bad situation. No, that was a situation that you learned from, right? When it's like I know I talked to you about it whenever it happened, but like the girl that I dated for a little bit,
Yeah.
I still accredit a big part of that. It's like, I don't know. I don't know God's plan for me, but it I think that being with her brought me back to that because she was very devout in it. She
Yeah.
done all that. So
Right.
it's like obviously that didn't work out, and we've parted ways. But it, I'm still so thankful for that in that sense. It's like, yeah, that was miserable to go through. I
Yeah.
didn't like that experience to go the way that it did, but it still brought me back to Jesus. Like, and I have to accredit that to some degree
Right.
because I mean, it was at a point when we was together. Like she would tell me, "Hey, bring your Bible. We're going to sit down and do Bible study together," And that don't happen a ton in relationships,
Yeah.
especially
Not
with
today. Yeah.
people today. So it's like, how blessed was I to go through that? Even though it didn't work out, even though I don't have that person anymore, like that still was a stepping stone on my path. That at the time, I would have told you this is a horrible situation.
Right.
This sucked. Like, it was just whatever, right? But in hindsight, looking back on that, it's such a blessing to have these people that you go through that at the time, even if you thought it was a bad situation, you didn't like it, you still come out as a better person with that.
No, absolutely.
And I think with any of the situations, whether it's relationships with people, friendships with people, people passing away, whatever it may be, that I can't remember how old you were, but I was 16 whenever my dad passed away, right? And it's like, I remember so much of being like, it was just so hard because I had no men in my family.
Right.
Like most of the men had passed away, and I didn't have those guys to look to.
Yeah.
But I used it as an excuse. I enabled myself with it. Or I acted out. I acted like an idiot because of that.
Yeah.
I didn't have the discipline per se that I needed.
Davey,
And
it's like we live the same life, just different walks of life, bro.
I know you're just the city boy.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's so much of that though. And again, obviously in that situation, you're looking back on that and like how I felt in the moment. All that sucked.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to go through this. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But I genuinely don't think I would not be the person I am today. It's like who you are today is an exact product of what you went through and what you've had to deal with. And like we said earlier.
So like you accredit that to God trying to teach you something or like build you. Do you think a lot of that comes to like
I don't think even
getting you ready to be a parent?
You're never promised tomorrow to begin with, but we're still both young enough that we don't know where our path is going to go.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, who's to say if you feel any bit accomplished right now, right? Think 20 years down the road, what could you become?
Right.
It's like, look at the situations, the hardships that you've had to go through for what? And like, that's the question. Ultimately, we don't know, right? It's God's will and his decision you're going to play into that.
Yeah.
But I do feel like to some degree, it's like, and again, in the flesh, that's a situation you don't want to go through.
Yeah.
But through faith, you are being built for something.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that something is.
Right.
I don't know if it was to be a parent or to be whatever. And it's like, I've been blessed to have the jobs that I've had. That, like, even the one at UPI getting over to Airmark, I got into leadership. It kind of put my foot into where I'm at now, which is great. you know. But with that, I'm responsible for people.
Yeah.
I have to do certain things, and it's like that's a big responsibility on me. And I've struggled with that if I'm being honest because I was 25 years old whenever I got in my first management job.
Right.
Right. I have to tell people I've never viewed it in a way like I'm not above anybody. Right. These are my coworkers.
Right.
We're all going to the same place. We're doing the same thing. We
Same
have the same
team.
goal.
Yep.
Right. And I try as hard as possible never to kind of pull that ego card of being like, I'm
Right.
your boss. You got to do
Yeah.
this. Right. But at the same time, it's hard to be 25 years old telling somebody that's 60, this is what we have to do.
Right.
Because one, I think that they really don't respect you all that much.
Yeah.
But it has its battles, and I think that it's like my dad passing away forced me to grow up in a way.
Yeah.
Having Natalie, I was 19 years old whenever I had Natalie. That forced me to grow up. So it's like, and I jokingly said this the other day. I had a couple people in the office I was talking to them, both of them way older than me. And one of the managers for maintenance coming there, he's way older. He's like 50, I think he just turned 57, 58. And he walked in there, he's like, what are you doing? Which again, I love talking and I'll just ramble to people. But he come in there and I just jokingly said, I was giving them some of this wisdom. And everyone of them just laughed and they said, so it's like, you're the youngest one in here. I said, listen, it ain't the age, it's the miles, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, for sure.
But I think that's the truth.
Yeah.
I've met people that are 50 years old that are as immature as a 13-year-old that I've met. And that has nothing to do with how old you are.
Right.
And it's like wisdom has nothing to do with how old you are. Every single one of us have heard that with age comes wisdom. No, it don't.
Right.
With
But
God
also
comes
too, I think it goes into everybody goes through something, and I think one of the hardest learning points for me was you can't judge your hard situations to another person's hard situations, because for
Right.
you, like for us, losing our dads was probably one of the hardest things for us. But for somebody else, they failed a test. That's the worst thing that's ever happened to them.
Yeah.
So you can't compare.
Right.
But at the same time, if that's the case, everybody's going to go through something hard in their life, and it's how they respond to it which makes them wiser. Like if they just take it and they're like, oh, that's life, and then just keep pushing, opposed to, okay, granted, losing my dad, it wasn't like immediate, like, okay, this is why. It took years, and like,
It never did.
right. But eventually I had that, okay, yeah, I can't change it. This is the circumstances. What am I going to make out of it? So like one of the first things I did when me and Matei got married was we got life insurance. I wasn't going to be in the same situation where my dad had passed and we didn't have anything. We lived off Social Security. I wasn't going to be in that situation.
I think it was Jocko Willett, maybe. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He worded it, I believe it was him, that made the comment, the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Not
that quote.
real.
Yeah.
Right? And that's so true. And I remember plain as day that it's like I've always struggled to be empathetic towards people because I've dealt with a ton of death. And it's like I don't open up about that to people. I don't talk about what problems I've had and the things that's happened because I'm not sitting here trying to be woe is me. I don't want you to feel bad for me. I don't care.
Right.
I don't want your pity, right? But I've always viewed it in a way that's like I've went through so much close death to me that it has essentially just ripped my emotions out. I've become emotionally numb to a lot of stuff, right? And because of that, I find it harder to be empathetic towards people, to actually feel bad whenever something happens.
Yeah.
'Cause
But also,
just
when
like
you
you
look
said,
and I think to that extent too, I'm the same way. And I don't know if it's
Yeah.
the case for you, but for me, when somebody comes to me with a problem that is like, oh my God, the world is ending, I'm like, what? This is fixable. What are we talking about? Like,
it happens every day.
but yeah, it's pretty bad. I've gotten better. I think ultimately it comes down to delivery, especially with Matea. But like Matea will come to me with an issue and she's like really stressed out about it. And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. It could be worse. Like we'll figure it out.
I'll just tell you that is not the right answer. That is
Yeah.
never the right answer.
Well,
Uh,
see, that's why I said delivery. If I'm like, it's not that big of a deal, then it's gonna hurt her feelings. But if I'm like, hey, it's good. We got this. It's nothing crazy. Like it's not that big of a deal. Then
Yeah.
it's fine. But it's the delivery and how I say it's not that big of a deal. or
Which
like
I
let's calm down. That delivery also matters.
I think too. It's and this sounds so mean, but it's like sometimes how we were talking about what's the purpose of something happening, right? And ultimately, I think over the years you find that how you
Yeah.
said it took a year for you to kind of see that. Sometimes I kind of feel like the purpose of losing somebody could have been nothing else but to make me feel that pain, to be more empathetic towards when something happens in the future, that I need to be empathetic towards this person that lost somebody.
No, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's a hard truth to swallow because you've just lost this person to feel the pain.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But to me, I think you cannot be empathetic towards somebody if you have never went through that situation. If you've never felt the emotion they felt,
Right.
you don't know. So you cannot be empathetic.
Yeah.
I do think emotion's emotion. Right? Sadness is sadness. Depression is depression. To be mad is to be mad. Sure, there's different levels of it, but it people handle it different ways. Right. But I do think like if you've never went through a traumatic experience that has pushed you into a deep sadness, how are you ever supposed to be empathetic towards somebody that's going through something that makes them feel that way?
Right.
And it might not be as bad, but who are we to sit here and compare weights of who had the worst
Right.
situation,
Yeah.
who had the worst life? So it's like, I don't know. It definitely is hard.
Yeah. All right. I hate to do this. I really gotta pee. I'll be right back.
I'm gonna go pee too.
Okay.
So
We're
just gonna
perfect.
break
Perfect.
together.
All right, we're back. I had to check out this guy rolling up the street real slow, and it ain't like my. It's in a neighborhood. Like, this is a main road. You don't really drive down that main road that slow, unless you're lost or you're looking for trouble.
I should have refilled my water. I didn't think about that.
I got a Ring camera that I can talk through. I told somebody the other day, if I ever catch somebody in my yard, I'm gonna tell them, "Hey, ain't nothing in this yard worth your life." So, we kind of started talking about it, and then I pulled the plug on it so we could talk about it on the podcast. But you were talking about before stream about like losing friends. Is it something that you kind of feel like it's happening a lot?
Well, I'll word it this way. So it's like, I feel like all of us, every single person, can somewhat relate to this. When you're in school, and I'm talking like grade school, middle school, high school level, you are essentially forced to be around these people every single day of the week.
Right.
And you could almost word it forced friendships. That
Yeah.
sounds bad. You're friends with these people because you're in the same classroom.
Right. And you see them every day. Right.
Right. Now, when you get out of that, I think that all of us can kind of understand this too. You may resonate with this. When you go from middle school to high school, at least here, we had kindergarten through 8th grade in a school, and then you go junior to senior in the high school. So they're different buildings, right? Your friend group from 8th grade to freshman year changes quite a bit.
Yeah.
And from freshman year to senior year changes even more so, right? And then you graduate high school. You've got a summer break or whatever. You go to work, go to college, whatever it may be. You're no longer around these people every day.
Right.
So it's like there's people that, you know, I've not spoke to in years that if they called me and they still needed me, I'd go right now and go help them.
Right.
Because I don't speak to them, don't mean that I don't care for them or have that relationship with them.
Right.
But I think that you do see a lot, especially when you live that kind of wilder life that you're partying, you're drinking, you're going and doing all that stuff, right? They're with you for a reason.
Right.
Whatever that may be, when you no longer are doing that, they don't have a reason to be around you.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't feel like I've lost friends per se.
Well, I think it's deeper than that too. It's more. There's a fine, like there's a defining moment. I feel like in every person's life, like every man's life, especially, when you stop. Like all the noise of a day to day gets real quiet, and you finally like realize, okay, this is my priority, and I'm gonna focus on this priority. I feel like in that sense, a lot of people are not going to like that your priorities don't line up with what their priorities are, in the sense of you're not, I used to talk to you every day, and now I might talk to you like once a week or once every 2 weeks or maybe once a month. And you don't like that, sorry, but that's what's best for me and my family. That's what I need to do.
I think a big part of it too, and you hit it right on the head there, as you get older, and you've experienced this now, you have a daughter, you're married, you have a wife, you have to go to work, and you live in Georgetown.
Yeah.
Right? Me and you even used to talk a whole lot more when I was working at UPike, and you was also there.
Yeah.
Right? And it'll kind of make me feel a little old here, but part of me working there too, and I started working there when I was 21, right? So it was a little weird because when I started working there was people I graduated high school with still in college.
Yeah.
That were going there, right? So, like, here I was, creepy maintenance guy, but I knew these people.
Right.
And I was the same age as a lot of them. So it was, I don't know, it was different. It was weird, but I seen so many kids, including you, that you came in your freshman year. I seen you. I knew you. I occasionally talked to you. I watched you go through freshman year. I watched you come up to graduate. I watched you start working. It's like, it was in a sense, I don't know how to word it, but we spent a lot more time together. We talked a lot more. But again, we're at that same place. It's not an extreme inconvenience to have those conversations with each other, to go sit down for a minute and talk, to lunch together, whatever it was. And, now you look at it. You live how many miles away? You've got a daughter that you got to take care of and spend time with. You have a wife that you need to take care of and spend time with.
Right.
Who am I to get mad at you if I'm like, TJ ain't talked to me in a week?
Yeah.
And I think everybody has that situation. you got to have your own things in life. And just like you said, the priorities of it, you know, in our sense, both of our priorities are really similar, but that it's still not the same priorities.
Right.
Right. Or we both prioritize our daughter, but they're two different people.
Right, right, right.
So it's like you're still not prioritizing the same thing. And in a lot of the ways, I think you don't necessarily lose friends that way, but I think that you do become more distant than that. And that is something that I'll say, I don't know how girls are, but I know that as a guy, I have people that I've not spoke to or seen in 6-7 years that if I seen them tomorrow, we could just pick back up
Yeah.
from that last day we left off, and it's just right
I
there.
just
There's
did it. My buddy just got out of the Navy, and we went out to dinner and we talked for like 3 hours, like we hadn't missed a beat.
Well, it's good to have those relationships.
Yeah.
Because it's still people that you can count on.
But it's
Still
not.
people that-
It's not like I don't have to be exhausted by the day to day. Like I don't have to continuously check on you and see how you're doing. And I know that you're doing well, and I can follow you from a distance and be like, oh, okay, he's good. I can shoot him a text here and there. That honestly, I think this is where I got into issues, right? Which let me tell you the issue that I ran into, and then how I take it now. My issue, I'd say year 2 of working at U-Pike, when I finally was like, okay, here's my purpose in
Right.
this job, and it was to be a mentor, to help people, right? I was so involved in everybody else's life that my time was split between 20, 30 people, and that's including people that worked for me or people that that I was friends with. Well, then I left U-Pike, and I get to Georgetown, and me and Matea start building something on our own. And one of the biggest things I like about U-Pike or like about Georgetown opposed to U-Pike, I get there in freshman year, and I'm basically forced into this community, right? Now, granted, I can pick and choose who I hang out with, but it's a community that's already founded. I come to Georgetown, nobody's here. I get to build my own community. If I don't want somebody a part of it, they don't have to be a part of it. I like that. But me and Matea come to Georgetown, we start, creating plans, and I have more time to reflect. I'm not constantly getting blown up from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep with issues, so I can reflect on what I'm doing and how I could be better. And I realized for the past 4 years, with the job that I was working and trying to, put out content and do this stuff, Matea had almost not taken a back seat, but she had gotten less attention than what she deserves.
Yeah.
That's my priority. So, with that being the case, all the people that I talk to daily, they don't get text daily anymore. I can look at your Facebook post. I see you're doing good, cool. I'll check on you every so often. Probably not as much as I should. That's on me, right? But you're not my number one priority, and you'll never be my number one priority, and you won't make 2 or 3 either, because 1's God, 2's Matea, and 3's Evie, in that order.
Right.
And you're not cracking the top 3, so you can try as much as you want, but it'll never happen.
Well, I think too, and in some sense, I hate to even admit this, but it's like there's 2 friends that I have that I'm super close with, right? And both of them are in the sense that we've just went through so much life experience
Yeah.
from. I've known
They call
them-
those trauma bonds.
Yeah, and one literally since I was born, 3-4 days old, they brought me home and set me beside of him. So I've known him that long. The other I've known since kindergarten. So it's both of these people I fully trust.
Right.
That's not to say I don't trust other people, but it's just a different type of relationship.
For sure.
And I've stayed single for so long now that I don't even want to bother with it, because honestly, I in my head, I'm trying to build legacy and add to legacy. I don't care about going on a date. I want more kids. I want to have a wife, but not my main priority right now. Right? It's not important enough for me currently for me to neglect other things that I want to do to have that. And with that being said, it was a lot easier whenever I had those 2 friends that constantly came up here and was with me, hung out with me all the time. So it's I enjoy being alone. I personally find it very peaceful, and it's just at my house right now, it's dead silent. Right? Natalie's with her mom this week. I get that week of just pure relaxation. I get to do what I want. I can sit here if I want to study for 6 hours, I can. And part of that I liked, but I don't care who you are. being around people is enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know, especially people that you like.
Right.
And one of those friends, luckily, is my neighbor. But even with that, he's married and he has 2 kids now. The other friend has got in a relationship, and that's just, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. You start dating somebody, you got to give time to.
Right.
But it's like both of them kind of got in those relationships. I never did.
Yeah.
It's like I'm still single. So now I'm just sitting here on the weekends. I'm by myself. They're doing this, and it's like part of me was kind of jealous of their girlfriends, because they stole my friends from me.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for both of them. I'm thrilled for both of them. But it's kind of in that same sense. It's like, how selfish do I got to be mad at them for chasing what their life goals are?
Right.
And it's like, especially when you start talking about the wife and children, who am I to get mad at you for not talking to me?
Right.
You have far more important things than me. And I think it goes both ways too. It's like you said that maybe you don't reach out as much as you should to people. That's on them too.
Yeah.
It's like they can also reach out to you. And it's hard, I think, as a man to be vulnerable and open up enough. It's like if I have something going on and I need somebody to talk to, it's a hard thing for me to reach out. Like if I text you, I'm like, hey man, I got this going on. I just need to talk to somebody.
Right.
I at least have not seen many guys that do that.
Yeah.
I feel like girls do that a lot more often than guys do. But, that's a fault that we need to deal with ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like I need to get over that and quit being scared of that and reach out to you and be like, hey, you got a free 20 minutes? I just want to talk, go over this, whatever, get it off my chest.
Right.
And it goes both ways in a sense. Like
Well, too, I think one thing that I got advice, and it really just resonated with me. So let's look at it from a male perspective, looking at females, okay? If you have a girlfriend that doesn't live in the same state as you, or same city, or whatever, and she's constantly going out with her friends that are single to bars, not a good look. Okay? She's going, regardless of however, we're solid, whatever, however much that is, there's always a chance that her friends get in her ear and convince her that she deserves better, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
I had a guy, what is it?
I was talking about that with somebody today, I probably speak on it more than I should, because I've been told a lot. It's like, and truthfully, okay, we're men, we've not lived as girls,
Right.
so who are we to
Right.
speak on what they do? I tell you right now, I've been around enough of them and I've seen it enough.
But hold on, because there's a male perspective, so there's a male side to that, and I didn't really ever think of it. The male equivalent to a single or a female in a relationship going out with their single friends and getting brainwashed to believe she deserves better is the male equivalent of a man constantly surrounding himself by men who all have their own, way of thinking and own, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make this amount of money and I'm going to have all these women. Yeah. It's the same extent. If a man's in a relationship and he has these goals and he has these plans, he's also likely to be swayed off his plans because he surrounds himself by men every day who have different goals. And when I was told this, I was like, I never thought about that. He said, I don't think that men should have friends that they talk to every day. And I was like, why? And then he said that, and I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense. If you solely, you have a group of friends that if you need something, you're going through it, you could reach out, you could talk, cool. But I don't need to talk to you every day. I know what I want my life to look like, and my core values are, and I don't want your core values or your life. That's your life.
Well, I think, too, a couple things on it. I don't know if you've ever heard it or not. I was going to assume that you have. The saying of, show me your friend group and I'll show you.
Yeah. I love that saying. I love it.
And it's very true.
Yeah.
It's like if you hang around a bunch of deadbeats, you're probably going to be a
Yeah,
deadbeat.
right.
You hang around a bunch of guys that are just constantly push for success and do this and that you're probably going to be drug in. And it, for anything that you want to apply to it. But it's like in that situation, I think that, like what I was saying, the conversation I had earlier today, I think a big difference is like, and I've seen this. I've been legitimate friends with girls like that. That's just the relationship stops there. It's just purely a friendship, and being sitting there getting ready to go out or whatever, and you're sitting there. I'm just waiting, watching these 4 or 5 girls get ready, listening to them talk. Right? It's like I'm one of the girls listening to them, and they absolutely, at least this group. I'm not going to classify every single one of them as
Yeah.
a species
Yeah.
of this. Okay? But it's like the experiences that I've personally seen. I've heard it a million times. You deserve better than that.
Yeah.
You know, because you get problems in your relationship, you start talking about them, and the girls are just barking in your ear. Oh, you can do better than that. You deserve
Yeah.
better than that. You got this. You got that. Especially the girls that are single because they're jealous of you. They don't have a relationship, so they don't want you to either. And I do think in that same exact aspect, men don't do that because it's like if you're probably not going to complain to me about your relationship problems. 2, even if you do, it's like there's some level of aggression there that I'm not going to talk about your wife because that's off limits.
Right.
It's like as guys, they constantly joke and poke around with each other, not being serious.
Right.
But it's like everybody knows spouse and kids are off.
Yeah. It literally would be the most heinous thing said, joking around, but at the end of the day, they'll willing to fight to the death for your family.
Right. And
Yeah.
That's true. But I do think something that guys do a lot is well, for example, I've recently started golfing quite a bit.
Hey, we gotta get you down here to golf.
I'll come down there and golf.
Yeah.
But if one of our buddies won't go out and he happens to be one of the married ones, it's like we're just handling him. Oh, grow a set this and that. Like, who's the boss in the relationship? And it's like, obviously you're joking.
Right.
Okay. But that to me is no different than that girl sitting there telling that other girl that she deserves better.
Yeah.
Because I'm essentially telling this guy, forget your wife, forget what she wants.
Right.
Come out here and golf with me. Right.
Literally.
And it's easy for me to say because I have nobody to answer to.
Right.
You don't want to cause those problems
Yeah.
because you wanted to go golf.
No,
all
for
right?
sure. Yeah.
And I think it's different, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I've heard that so much, and it's like you get these people. Obviously, boys and girls don't necessarily agree with each other, but to me, it's no different.
Yeah.
It's like we're saying it a different way because, again, I'm not going to directly call out something that your wife done to you because guys just don't do that.
Right.
I was like, those are fighting words. Like now we're fighting because I said something about your
Yeah.
wife, even though you just said the same thing.
Right.
If I say it, not cool.
Yeah.
Right? But I think that they do it in that way.
Yeah.
That it's like they jokingly they push each other like you're not a man because you don't want to come do this with your friends.
No, for sure.
But
Yeah, but also like that just feeds into one of the biggest issues is talking about your relationship outside your relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's not me and Matea's never done it.
Yeah.
You know, if me and Matea's upset with each other or something, it's not like we go to somebody else for advice. We handle it in our house, you know. And granted, it's not often. Like we don't really fight. We have disagreements, but it's not like a full blown, I'm sleeping on the couch type thing.
Right.
But
I think too.
we just keep it in the
And
house.
it's like, especially with social media now, especially as a girl, you post a picture and you're getting hundreds, if not thousands,
for sure.
of guys that are liking it, that's commenting on it or whatever. And it's like, to me, and again, I don't know. I'm not in that situation, so I don't know what they feel.
Right.
But I would imagine that if 1,000 girls like my picture, at least half of them probably are at least a little bit interested in me, right?
Hey, Davey over here getting likes, boy.
I don't. I definitely I don't even post stuff anymore. But it's got to be in the back of their mind. It's like if all these people are giving you attention online, there has to be some curiosity that maybe
One of them
there could be a
yeah.
chance,
Yeah.
right?
No, for sure.
And I know that guys are horrible for it.
Yeah.
Okay, like a girl can like your picture and she's in love with me.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
ready
yeah.
to-
Yeah.
I've heard that so many times.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you gotta calm down. That is not at all what that means. She might have accidentally clicked that one. I was like, I don't even know what to tell
Yeah,
you.
sometimes on the ones that's like a week, like they like a picture today that you posted like a couple weeks ago, you might be onto something. But
Fish, okay.
yeah.
But not, I've seen it so much, and it's funny. But my main point is now, if I mess up and I do something, we have that small argument. Look how many options that they can just jump to.
Yeah, right.
And that goes for a guy's sense too.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure in cities that you got a lot more population, this and that, the guys probably get equal the amount of
Yeah.
attention. I definitely don't. Okay. So it's like here, no, it don't. At least for me, don't. Sure, there might be some guys that do get that level of attention.
I think you could. You can't be bothered by it.
I don't know. Girls don't like me. I'm too selfish in what I
I'm
want
telling
to
you,
do.
if you got on Tinder and put your height in your bio, you'd get some likes. I promise you that.
I'm banned from Tinder.
This guy. Are you saying heinous things on Tinder?
Be honest with you, I don't really know. I got 2 accounts banned. I used.
Oh yeah, you did tell me that. I forgot that.
I'm not 100% sure why. I emailed them and asked. I was like, I'm not asking for you to unban me. I just want to know why I got banned. They
Right.
didn't tell me.
Hmm.
I just said I avoided the community guidelines of
Yeah.
the 500,000 pages. They got.
Interesting.
I don't know what it was. But I've pretty well all given up. I don't even. I've told myself whenever Natalie gets old enough to, she's kind of there. She's started. She'll just sit in her bedroom once, unless she's hungry or needs something. She just goes and sits in her bedroom. I try to get her to hang out with me, sitting there watch a movie or something. She's like, no, I just want to sit in here. And it
But
kind of
have you tried Christian Mingle?
no.
What about Farmers Only?
Never tried Farmers Only.
We got to get you on a dating app.
I have them on the phone. I just don't use them a lot.
No, we got to get you a good God-fearing woman, Davey.
That's what I think part of it too, and I have wild takes on stuff, and I don't think that helps. And that seems to be my problem usually, is I'm a little bit too brash on problems, and a lot of that. And again, this is not all girls. Okay, so I'm not saying this is all girls. When you start talking about problems, that this friend said that, or this happened at your job, like I'm thinking,
How do
in
I
my
solve the
position-
problem? Yeah, it's a logic.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, not even solve the problem, but it's like in my position, I deal with so much, like
Drama?
very, not even drama, but it's like major level of attention
Yeah.
on so
Issues,
many
right.
different things
Right.
at once. On top of drama, on top of I never get a free second. I could be on vacation. It could be 4 o'clock in the morning. They're still messaging me. They still come. I still have to answer to that. So no, I don't feel bad that you had to work 9 hours today.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no pity for you, and that usually just don't go good. I'm bad, I guess, at relaying emotion of just being like,
It's
oh, you know what?
delivery. It's delivery. And
I'm
but
not-
also the same. But it's the same instance. You saying that is the same as you going back to our other conversation about like judgment, like in the
That is
sense of like judging somebody's trials and tribulations as your own. You're comparing their job to what you do, and it's not a fair. Like if I was to judge being a stay-at-home mom to being in an attic that's 130 degrees, they're not comparable. They're very different. Are they?
I
are they?
on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they easy? No. Neither one of them's easy. Is there? They're both like one would say one's more physically demanding than the other, but also one is more emotionally demanding than the other. And I don't want to be at home with a 1-year-old who just wants to hold you and then be put down and then picked up and then put down and then be fed and cry. I don't want that. I'd much rather be in an attic.
That's fair.
So when I come home and Mateo's like, I'm exhausted, I had a long day, I'm like, yeah, me too. I've been in a 130-degree attic all day. The comparison there, it's like, oh, okay, so my day's not hard.
Right.
Sorry you had a rough day. What can I do to help you?
Yeah, and I mean I get that aspect of it too. And to be fair, I did say I struggled with that.
Yeah.
okay?
You did say struggled. That's fair.
But I don't know. I just struggle so hard.
But this is why I say we need to get you a woman. Go back to the book of Genesis, man. It's not good for a man to be lonely.
I agree. Okay. And I do. Like I want a wife and I want more kids.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think part of the issue too is I set certain standards in my head and I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't. But they have to fit so many boxes that I just I'm not willing to do it.
Right.
And I look at it in a bad way too. It's like part of it, I would almost say I'm scared to. You know, it's like I would take it as far as that, because what the risk versus reward there, is it worth trying to be with somebody, and if it don't work out, what? And I don't want to use the term waste, because I don't think you necessarily waste
Right.
time on somebody, but it's like you go through all this. Especially, I've always been real weird about bringing girls around Natalie. It's like there's
Understandable.
only been, it's me and her mom separated like 8-ish years ago. I've only brought 2 or 3 around her
Right.
ever. So I try really hard not to.
Yeah.
And especially now, it's become harder and harder on her, because she gets attached to these
Right.
people, and I hate being the one that does that.
For sure.
You know? But I don't know. It just gets hard for me, because they gotta, well, like I said, you have to at least somewhat have the same morals as me,
Yeah.
same beliefs. That you absolutely have to follow Christ, right? It outside of that, not extremely picky, but it's also a way of life that I don't like going out all the time. 'Cause I don't care to go out, but I don't want to travel all the time. I don't want, like, I'm trying to build something.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on vacation every other week
Right.
and constantly go do it. And most people want to,
Yeah.
rightfully so. And it's fair, but they can do that. And I don't know. It's become
I don't-
difficult.
Ultimately, the way I see it is, I think you'll be a stronger follower of Christ if you had a woman that had the same values and everything as you. Because I mean, if you look at it in the sense of like, how much do you think having a good woman in your life would lead you to more temptation or less temptation?
A good one, less.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But that's why I said we need to find you a good woman. I didn't say find you a woman.
I've almost lost hope on that. Though. It's a rare find.
Dude, I think that's a killer podcast, honestly. And I gotta get up at 4:00 in the morning. Me and Matea's going to Virginia Beach.
Listen, you be safe on that trip. And it was a pleasure catching up with you.
Hey,
Thank
for
you
sure. Typically we end with prayer. If you want to lead it, I can lead it.
Absolutely, it's up to you.
All right.
Whatever you want to do.
All right. Dear Lord, I want to thank you for this opportunity, for this moment, being able to speak with Davey, be able to catch up after a while of not talking. Lord, I want to thank you for not only this platform, but just your grace and your blessings that you bestowed upon us. I want to thank you for not only my trials and tribulations, but the trials and tribulations you put Davey through to get him to where he is today. I pray that you look over Davey, guide him on his journey with you, protect him and Natalie, and just lead them to the doors that you have in store for them, the ones that they know of and the ones that they are solely unaware of. Lord, I thank you for all that you do for us, your beautiful creation you gave to us, and just your grace and your love. Lord, I pray that if anybody in chat has any conflictions about following you, that you touch their heart and their soul and you lead them to your light, for you are the way. Thank you in everything you do. We love you, and in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. We'll have to run it back because we could do another 4 hours.
Deal. Absolutely. You just let me know when.
All right, sounds like a plan, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
All right, chat. I appreciate y'all for being here. Brew, I appreciate you for being in chat. I appreciate you for the follow. I'm glad that you found Christ, man. Keep following him. He's the way. If you are in chat or you're on YouTube and you are far away from God, make that connection. It's a relationship. You got to work on it. It's not going to be easy, but you got to work on it. He is the only way. So make sure you say a prayer tonight because he loves you just as much as I do. I'll see y'all next time, baby.